Will arrive, but we'll get started. Thank you for being here. Our clerk will let us know as soon as we're ready to go. All right, welcome to City Hall here in Hollywood. Today is Thursday, October 9th, 2025. Hope everybody's been enjoying the holidays that are celebrating. All right, welcome everyone. Welcome to City Hall here in the city of Hollywood. Today is a regular Community Redevelopment Agency meeting. Today is October 9th, 2025. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless America. Roll call, please.
Board Member Shuham? Board Member Hernandez?
Here.
Board Member Clary? Here. Vice Chair Quintana? Board Member Biederman? Here. Board Member Gruber?
Here.
Chair Levy?
Here. All right, thank you. Any conflict disclosures today? If not, let's go ahead with 9 a.m. citizens' comments. If you're here to speak on any issue regarding the CRA, please fill out a card. There's our clerk, and she will be happy to bring it by. Let's begin with none other than Bob Glickman, and he'll be followed by Andre Brown.
Good morning, Bob Glickman, Hollywood Beach. I just came out here today to give you an observation of what's happened during the recent king tides. Since a couple of months ago, we installed the WAPRO valves in the storm drain basins on the beach side streets. So on the streets that I live on where it was installed, they work. However, the storm drain system is not interconnected. So they're like in 4 street segments. So even though they're working on our streets, if you go a block down, it's coming up through that street, going down the gutter along A1A, and then coming back into the street. It's also coming up through the manhole covers on A1A as well. So I'm sure that you're all aware of this. However, if we want to continue with the pilot program, perhaps one of the things to do is to do a 4-street segment where we're putting them into the storm street basins on the side streets and all of this, and see if it will actually stop it. I still believe we have a problem with the flap gates on the intercoastal where water is still coming in, okay? But in a normal rain where we would have flooding on the streets, we're no longer having flooding. And that's the main reason I came out here today, and I'm glad to see there's so many people from staff here as well. I know that they try to come out, and I know I've spoken to them in the time in between, but they can't be there all the time. But those of us that live there, we can observe this and we can report it. So when you're making a decision and they're making a decision to do something, you can take the facts into consideration. I did send an email with some pictures to some of you and to some staff members just to show them exactly what's happening. But I think it's important for the residents to come out and tell you when you're doing these programs whether they're working or not, and possibly how they could be improved. And that was my intent here today, to tell you, yes, it did work, but yes, it can be improved. And I'm not an engineer, but I would think that if you would do the other adjoining streets, it would stop the water from flowing up. We're not going to stop it coming up from the manhole covers. And we need to fix the flap gates so they're properly sealed, and we need to fix the drainage system so there's no breaks or cracks or anything else in that. So the program is working. I just wanted to come out and let you know that it is. And, I thank you, and the residents on the beach thank you. But you need to know about this stuff, and this is the best way, I think, to let you know, is to come out here and give you our observations, because we're out there all the time. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. And Executive Director, maybe during your informational report, we can have a little bit of update by CRA staff as it relates to the beach and the tidal flooding.
Yep, already anticipating that on the agenda. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Andre Brown, welcome.
Mayor, Commissioners, City Managers, and to all my brothers and sisters, good morning.
Morning.
I'm in a good mood this morning. Very good mood. When I leave here, I'm going out there with my redneck friends, and yeah, we're going out there where the Gators at. All my uniforms out there in the vehicle, and I'm motivated this morning. I'm in a good mood, and I thank God. Many mornings I don't wake up in a good mood, you know. I make sure I take all my meds, as you know, Commissioner Clary, that I must take them. And I'm happy to be here in front of the commissioners this morning with everybody with a bright smile, you know. But the thing is, I just want to say, just don't forget what we talked about a long time ago. We talked about the gardeners blowing that grass and debris all out in the roads that clogs up some of these drains along the area. Even though we don't have no vac trucks like we want yet, but I'm quite sure that's in order. And I'd be glad to see new employees out there cleaning out the drains and keeping our city beautiful. Mayor, I think you did a great job in the city. Now, you know I'm in a great mood.
Thank you.
I am in a great mood this morning, Mayor. And I want to thank my commissioner, Hernandez. I see what you doing inside the community where I can go put my hands on it, what you done in the community. See, a lot of people say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But you know what? I go out and check. I've been in your community, Commissioner Biederman. I've been in your community, and I can see what you done. What I can put my hands on. Oh yeah, I'm gonna give y'all a report card next month. Everybody gonna get a report card, and guess who gonna sign off on it? Andre Brown. That's me. I'm gonna let you know what you need to be done. No, I can't say that because I'm not the boss. I'm only Andre Brown. I just asked to what can be done in a community, you know. And by the way, Mayor, I asked for a raise earlier. You think I can get a raise, but you tell me to come back to work.
Yeah.
But I'm looking out for my brothers and sisters out here getting a fat raise too. You know what I mean? So think about that. But everybody have a blessed day. I got to get out there. I know they're waiting on me.
All right, be safe, Andre. We appreciate it. Thank you for thank you. Gratitude is a beautiful sentiment. Makes us all feel better. Yes. All right, we should just leave it there at good feelings. Ready to go home? Now we've got work to do. Let's start with this consent agenda, ladies and gentlemen. Item 5, 6, and 7 today. Are there any speaker cards, clerk, on 5, 6, or 7?
No speaker cards.
No speaker cards. We have a motion to approve by Board Member Shuham, second from Board Member Coleri. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Show the consent agenda items pass 6-0. All right, on to our regular agenda. Let's invite through the Executive Director, Lisa Leota. She's the Development Officer, to provide an update regarding the Lead with Love Mosaic mural, which we've designated for the Hollywood Beach Theater, and it is great to learn the status. Lisa.
Good morning. For the record, Lisa Leota, Development Officer, CRA, City of Hollywood. And yes, Mayor, the Lead with Love Mosaic mural, we've been working on this project for a number of months now, and we've just taken what I believe to be is a huge leap forward. It's very exciting, and in this presentation, you will see a rendering of what has been proposed, and I hope you like it as much as I do and the others who have seen it. But we're going to start with the history and overview of this project. And this project was brought to us by Business for the Arts, BFA, when they contacted the city in 2024 regarding participating in their county-wide Lead with Love mural project. BFA is a not-for-profit organization that educates the business community about the importance of Broward County's art and cultural community, and it engages the business community as well in an effort to, it engages them in building connections between cultural vitality, creative success, and economic development. Their board of directors is comprised of local business owners and executives who have a passion about preserving and promoting the arts and culture in Broward County. And Robin Vegas is their executive director, and I'm delighted to say that she is here with us today. Robin's waving. Okay. Now, the Lead with Love mural project is a partnership between the Community Foundation of Broward, is a partnership between the Community Foundation of Broward and Business for the Arts Broward, two different organizations. However, BFA has taken the lead. And the purpose of this project is to instill a sense of pride and ownership by all residents of Broward to be a place they love and to call home, and a destination people love to visit. The project takes place between fall 2024 and 2027, and it aims to create 9 distinctive murals, each in a different city. Current locations include the cities of Fort Lauderdale, Plantation, and Dania Beach, and I believe another mural was recently created in Lauderdale by the Sea. A very exciting component of this project is the artist. The artist is Say Adams, and each mural is a unique creation by Mr. Adams. Say Adams is an American visual and visual artist, graphic designer, and author. As a New York native, he emerged from the downtown graffiti movement to exhibit along fellow artist Jean-Michel Basquiat and Keith Haring. He was the founding creative director of Def Jam Recordings and is known for his work with the Beastie Boys, LL Cool J, Jay-Z, Mary J. Blige, as well as others. Today, I found that to be incredibly impressive, I have to say. Right, we remember them all very well.
Who's 50-something here?
Exactly.
Or 40-something.
Okay. Today, his practice consists of working with mixed media materials to create large paintings, works on paper, bright, colorful murals, and he has recently collaborated with the Smithsonian, Temple University, Apple, Levi's, Converse, Pabst Blue Ribbon, Foot Locker, YouTube, Google, and many others. I had to keep this as a short list.
Get to the artwork, Lisa.
Okay, I'm going. Every time, right? Every time. I'll read this very quickly. So if you remember, you probably remember Robin. She gave a presentation on August 28th in regard to the Lead with Love program. To participate, there is a $10,000 fee that secures Mr. Adams. Our program, we're taking it in a little bit of a different direction because the location that we've chosen, as you mentioned earlier, is the east elevation of the band shell on the beach. And we believe that instead of painting the mural, a mosaic mural will be more resilient and actually, quite frankly, more beautiful and attract more attention. It will be unique. It will be a location that is used for selfies and other forms of photography and video. And I do want to say that you'll be seeing the rendering today. You will have an opportunity to provide modify it if you choose to do so. I want to thank Otis and Gina because they've been wonderful, very supportive, and helped us navigate through the procurement process. We've already identified a mosaic mural artist who will create the mural. and install it. As soon as we are able to confirm the design, that artist is on standby to order the tiles. So that's where we stand right now. In case, for those who are not familiar with mosaics, traditionally mosaics are a form of art that are created with small pieces of colored glass, stone, and other materials. We do have a number of mosaics on the beach. We have the street ends, which are in mosaics, but we also have 2 buildings. You'll see one, the Dahan Building right on Johnson. That was created in 2015. Hard to believe it was 10 years ago. It's still in excellent condition. And then, of course, created in the beginning of 2024 is the Billy's mosaic. And that mosaic, while it doesn't look very large, can you imagine that's like 1,000 square feet? Moving right along, a little bit of history in mosaics just to show their resiliency. The Gypsy Girl, which is in Zugama, Turkey, was created in the 2nd century. The Salamander Below, which was created in 1904, is located in Barcelona, Spain. And of course, you may recognize the Bacardi Building in Miami, which was created in 1963. And to the best of my knowledge, it's only been repaired once since that time. So mosaic murals tend to be very resilient, especially we're putting this, the sun is going to be beating down on this. And so we really want to make sure that it lasts. If it were painted, quite frankly, it will probably fade in a few months. So the location, the east elevation, the entire backside, that east elevation is approximately 833 square feet. The intention is to mosaic almost all of it, about 720 square feet. We're probably going to leave about a foot on the bottom, and the stairwell will not be mosaiced. We also have to work around, there are these little pipes that go down the wall. So, and Say Adams will work with the mosaic artist hand in hand to ensure that the integrity of the design is kept with the mosaic. Installation, and now the moment you've been waiting for. This is the rendering of the mural. Very bold. We asked for bold colors. You can see that he has Florida's Hollywood located on the right side of the mural. And so far, the few people who have seen it have provided very positive feedback.
I love it, to use the word. That's amazing. Let's give a round of applause to the artistic imagination here. Definitely beautiful colors, and it's tropical, and I'm excited about it.
It definitely has that pop, you know, and
The artistic, yeah. Yep, sorry. I'm lighting everybody up.
I think it's up to your interpretation.
I get a question. Are we actually redoing the door with the glass door as well? Because
It's not glass. The door is solid.
yeah, but the door
The
looks like
image.
glass
I
from
know,
here.
it does, but it does look like
Only
glass.
because we fall in love with what we see, and then when it comes to reality, it doesn't look the same. So
If it's not able to be mosaicked, we will be using an identical hue of paint so that if you get up close, yes, you will see it is painted, such as the stairwell. We are avoiding areas that could sustain damage.
okay, no, I know, but if you back up to the other picture, I'll show you. I'll show you what I mean. Look at the width of what you guys see right now, and look at the width here. It doesn't look the same. I just want to make sure that when we look at something and we look at the end product, we don't get disappointed with what we see. If it takes a little more, I'm more than happy to provide whatever funding you may need for that, but we love the look of that because the glass actually makes the rest of it jump out. But when you have something like this, it doesn't look the same.
Well,
I think
this
there's
is a
mural on the- I
photograph.
think there's a mural on the back side, on the inside of the band shell. So, Peter, I'm not sure the glass.
No, it may not, but I'm just saying, whatever material you may need to make it look like glass, would
Yeah.
go back to the picture because it looks much wider here. And that's
Right.
my point.
I know it does, it's a bit of an optical illusion. I will say that.
Well, I'm looking at it.
So it's possible. Hold on. It's possible to put a plexiglass or acrylic, panel on the door and have it be shiny and cleanable. And that's actually a great idea because it won't get discolored with paint. So I mean that's pretty simple to do an acrylic panel, Susan. Yeah, or even plexiglass. on the door, even tinted from behind, and it'll, whatever we want to tint. You can even wrap it on the backside, on the inside.
Yeah, we can put like a UV-rated polycarbonate panel on the door.
Yeah,
They're readily
good idea.
available, and
And
that
yeah,
would help.
And right now, it looks like it's a double pane door versus a single pane door.
Yeah.
We just, if you're gonna bring us something for us to fall in love with, let us go back over there and take a picture with it, similar to what it's here, that's all. But I love what it looks like.
We can definitely
No pun
do that.
intended.
All right, others? Commissioner Biederman?
So I love the design. I'm not in love with the location. I don't know who picked the location. I just don't see that many eyes on it. Listen, the bandshell needs a lot of work. I mean, it needs to be beautiful. I just don't see the amount of eyes that are going to be seeing this, that this kind of money and this kind of design and this kind of love should attract. So I think that it should have been in a more high-profile area. And I just don't know if we discussed it here, because I don't remember that, the location, but how was the location picked? Did we have like 5 locations and vote on which one's the best, or how did that come about?
I think what happened is that the Love mural came to us as a, something that we could do together with other cities that did it, and we at the same time were talking about the bandshell, and that's where the thought was to utilize the initiative of the Love program together with the bandshell. But to Commissioner Biederman's point, I think our board would probably like the idea of taking this Love mural and the colors and the design and going 360 with it around the front of the bandshell as well, the sides and the front, whatever the the arch and the side and the columns. I know we talked about doing the coral stone at the bottom of the front of the bandshell for purposes of the scuffing and everything, and the knee wall is done well with regards to it and remains clean, yet the front of the bench always remains scuffed. So what do you think about the idea of going all the way 360 with it? Obviously, there's the airplane image on the inside, which will remain, but what do you think if we take
I'm open
round.
for discussion. I just confused at the limited visibility of
I agree about that.
the east profile.
Not too many people are looking at it from the ocean side.
Unless you're on a cruise ship.
But let me open it up for more comment. Board Member Shuham? Whoops. Let me do that again. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think it's beautiful. I think that to do something with that door is a great idea. We had a hotel with a mosaic, and where the mosaic ended, I'll wait for Lisa. That's okay. That's okay, Lisa.
I'm so sorry.
The hotel where we did a grant for a mosaic recently. Oh, the mosaic where the hotel did they had a grant and they did a mosaic. I don't know if it's installed yet, but we approved a mosaic. In areas where the mosaic ended, they painted to match the mural.
Correct. We call it a
Correct.
bleed in
Yes.
printing. It bleeds.
So is any of this that bleed, or is the mosaic 100% with the exception of the
The
door?
bottom, the intention was to have the bottom, the bleed on the bottom, the last bottom, like the foot. However, I do want to say that Mr. Adams, the artist, as well as the mosaic artist, these are professionals. I mean, Mr. Adams is an internationally renowned artist, and I feel quite confident in saying that whatever he does is going to be exceptional, up to his standards.
Would this be glass or
It's
or
glass.
printed?
These are glass. The mosaic artist will be using glass tiles.
Okay, so.
And the
so
bleed,
fine.
right now, the plan is for the bleed to be on the bottom. And of course, areas that are not easily mosaicked or that could sustain damage, like the stairs, we're not going to mosaic. We're painting that, especially the shape and everything. We're just planning on painting that as
then-
well.
So just another comment is with respect to that door, then I would defer to the artist and see what material they would recommend on that door.
We can make suggestions as the very good suggestions made here today.
And then my only other question is with respect to the remainder of the bandshell. I didn't hear whether it was going to be painted or not painted, a different color.
This,
We shouldn't let this opportunity pass by and not address the front.
Yes.
So Susan.
I mean, there's so many great colors in this mural that could be carried out, but I know Margaritaville, they just painted it, right? So my question is, it looks like that's the color above the mural here, but what are your thoughts, Susan?
actually, Susan, would you mind if I jump in? Because Mr. Adams actually mentioned that, and he had said, you know, the painted area, clearly he wants it to match whatever's on the front. So he did mention that, but Susan, I apologize.
So the band shell was painted recently. It's a fairly dull bluish gray with yellow columns. This particular rendering is showing a much more bright blue, which I think, given the fact that there's not going to be that much left to this, between the sides and the sides of the stage, I think if we didn't want to do that in Mosaic, we should definitely pick the same colors he has here and bring them around, because they're much more vibrant than the more neutral colors that the band shell has till today. But adding this on the back, I mean, I think it's a good recommendation by the board to bring these vibrant colors around. If there's an opportunity to do some of those sections in Mosaic and bring like strands of those around, I think that would make it exciting and interesting, and definitely something we could suggest to the artist.
I absolutely support that. If there's a way to continue like these Palm Beach mosaics on the front two panels, that would be awesome.
And even on the roof line where the sign is.
Yeah.
Not the soffit, but, you know.
Similar to
The
Billy's.
fascia.
Fascia,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
what I'm saying. It doesn't have to be totally Mosaic, but I think that.
But why not? If it's preferable to have a mosaic on the stage side, the front side, then
Yeah.
let's go all the way. I mean, this is like,
Perfect
and
opportunity.
it'll last forever, and it'll look amazing. And
We'll save painting
during
money.
the sunset, the sun will shine on the tile and actually like maybe glitter a little bit. So
Yeah, in talking to the mosaic artist, and you can see the materials that were used on Billy's, a lot of the glass, it's vitreous glass, and he's able to get like iridescent vitreous glass, which is really cool because exactly like you said, with the sun shining on it, it really becomes alive.
yeah.
So I completely support that. And, you know, Susan, I'm wondering if just a very ballpark figure to try to extend a couple of these panels to the front. I mean, what's the wild ballpark range?
I know that for this elevation here on the 700 square foot, I think it was about $50,000.
We negotiated with the mosaic artist $50,000. However, I do want to point out that the artwork is owned by the artist, and so we can't take his work and duplicate it.
No, of
So
course
he would also be involved in the design. And so, you know, it's going to require, you know, time and money to
Okay.
do this.
Okay.
put it
I mean,
simply.
For me personally, like, do it. Yeah,
All the way.
all the way.
Let's go ahead to other board members. Vice Chair Quintana.
Well, that was exactly my question. If we start to add to what the design is that's being presented to us, I'd want to know what the additional cost would be before we committed to doing anything different. I love the idea of being able to match the colors on the front. But that's exactly what I was thinking is, you know, given that this artist has such a international reputation and all of his past experience with corporate clients, I was kind of thinking that it would end up costing us significantly more if we start to really change the front to incorporate his art. And I have a little bit of a concern about that. And then, I mean, just to put it on the record, you know, I love it that this is an international artist. It'll probably, you know, attract attention from people who otherwise might not go to the back of the stage. But I'm always big on let's support our local artists whenever there's an opportunity. And so just want to put that out there that whenever it's possible for me, I get excited about supporting the talent that's local. So that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you. Board Member Coleri. Let's do that again. Go ahead.
You thought I would know this by now. So I love the design. I love that they chose the city of Hollywood to come and put this meaningful mural along with other cities. So while I support local artists 100%, this artist, world renowned, has chosen Hollywood, which is super exciting. So my only suggestion, I don't know how it would look, but maybe you can bring back, they chose us, but we jumped on board with them, right? But my suggestion, I guess it's all in the eyes of the beholder, but this becomes, and we were just kind of like under our breath talking, like a seek and find, a scavenger hunt type of situation where you take a selfie, and we've talked about this throughout all the other cities. It may be a little challenging for some to find because it's on the backside, but my question would be, instead of carrying it forward, and I don't know how it would look, and I don't know you all's suggestion, but if you could take that love, that seems to be the generic form of love, I think, through all of them. Isn't it that kind of similar to others?
He uses different fonts.
Fonts,
Each one
but
is
it's-
unique, but yes, you can tell they're all related.
So just thinking out of the box, if you could take that love and on that knee board that's on the bottom of the band shell, instead of bringing the mosaic, you bring that same love at the bottom so that it's in the front and it's in the back. So then it gives you really notoriety and you can see it everywhere. Just food for thought. Like if we're putting it out there and we're going to invest, if you could just take the love that's on the back and put it on the bottom of that. I don't know how it would look with the mural that's already there and so forth and so on, but I think that way it kind of serves its purpose for visibility, but also gives an opportunity for people to go back and see the wow.
That's another idea. Susan, just in that regard of the bottom footer of the front of the band shell, did you already order the coral stone facade or no?
I have to coordinate with Public Works. I had met them out there several months ago. We did some measurements and to figure out how to fasten it because there's a lip on the stage, but I can find out.
So you haven't yet ordered it?
Well, no, we
Okay.
coordinated. I don't know if it was ordered.
All right. Well, to the point of whether it would be that, concrete, coral look or additional mosaic pursuant to the idea, then just, think about that with the artists, the designers, the people who know, et cetera, the scuff and all that. And I trust you'll be able to decide what's the best for the front and bottom. But certainly it could be artwork as well, just like Board Member Clary said. All right, Board Member Hernandez, then Biederman.
Thank you, Mayor. One of the things, sorry I'm so detail-oriented, that I've noticed is there's no light for this. Is there any way that we can have some solar lights down lighting the venue in order for it to be accessible to people that want to take a picture? Because in the early morning with the sunrise, this being glass, you're not going to be able to take such a good pictures because of the reflection of the sun and the glass and the mosaic. So my point is, do we have any idea of trying to light this thing? And if we do, can we do it with solar lights so that we don't tear into the band shell to try to bring the lights, if it's possible? If not, we can do it electric in order to be able to have something that we can be proud of and be seen at night. I also like the idea of wrapping around. If you want to go with coral or the coral look, it's basically a keystone type look on the bottom. They can replicate those tiles with concrete and beige concrete cement, and they use baking soda in order to get that look. So it's not, we don't have to spend an astronomical amount of money to make it look as if it was coral, but if we want to spend the money and we have the money, we can spend the coral. And we can always have signage. Remember, we're talking about signage to be able to have mural in the back, wayfind. So come look at our surprise, and then you have more people coming into the back. I can see a whole family taking a picture, and I can see an individual taking a picture standing on the stairs when it comes to this. So
Like that.
for that purpose, I think this is a great idea. I love the design, and I was counting to see how many hearts you can find in that thing. There's quite a few hearts. Some of them are upside down, some of them are sideways, but you can see hearts in that picture. So I like I love the design. I love to be able to bring it around the side, and I don't think that the money at this point is, as long as we waited, this is how we managed to prolong and prolong and prolong. I think at some point I'd like for you to bring something back for us, if in agreement with the artist, to be able to do something like that, and for us to be able to move. But I don't know how the board feels about having some type of uplighting or downlighting on the mural so that it could be seen at night.
about the sea turtle issues.
Okay, well, that was,
So I don't know about uplighting because then you're looking at the glare of the light, but downlight, it could be done with solar. The problem is that it has to be the amber light, it has to be all the way set in, but we could look to see where the possibility, the height would be to mount something to give it some illumination.
well, you have the height right there. You have the height right there, or you would have to bring it out and then bring it in. But if you do it in material that it's light in nature, whether it's fiberglass, whether it's aluminum, or whether it's resin, that you can actually, don't have to be big lights, big, nice murals don't have.
On the soffit?
Yes, you can either do it on the soffit to bring it in, and it could be solar in nature with a low voltage so that it doesn't have a big glare when it comes to that. I just want to be able to have something to give it some kind of ambience during the evening.
Might light the walkway too. You're supposed to ride your bike in the backside when there's a show.
Yeah.
And it probably is dark there, so it probably wouldn't hurt for just
No, and
general
there's
lighting
a,
also.
there's a bunch of the little LED lights that they use on streets right now.
Right.
You can put them in different
right.
colors, so we can highlight this.
Right.
The mural is great, but we're able to highlight everything else you have so that it has a night appeal.
All right, Susan, well, I would suggest, and board member I'm sure would agree, the artwork is the artwork. Don't complicate the project with the lighting. That could be separate, simultaneous, but don't hold back the artwork. I think that's not intended, right?
No, that's not the intent. My point is, if we're talking about the design and what we want to see in the long run, and you want this is going to last forever, if we cannot do it solar and you need to do it with pipes, I wouldn't want the artwork to be damaged or be, compromised because of that. We can always run the pipes on the inside, but I just figure solar would be something that we could all agree on.
All right, awesome. Let's go back to board member Biederman, who stimulated this conversation of the front side and everything else. Go ahead.
It's hard to remember what everything looks like there, but I know that we at one point asked for concrete restoration along those stairs because the stairs were falling apart at one point. Has that all been done? I mean, I hope we're going to make sure this is a solid rock building before we start to add a mosaic art project to it that we expect to last for 100 years. That's a current picture?
Yes.
Okay. And the artist and the installer already inspected the whole building because I'm sure that they want to make sure that it's solid before they start work also?
The artist has been to the site. The mosaic artist has not been contracted because he has not seen the artwork as of yet, but I have been in communication with him for quite some time, and he is familiar with the site. He is an artist who has worked on the beach before, so
I think what board member Biederman is referring to is the stucco. Make sure the stucco is not hollow and that it's not going to, fall. And I think
Right.
it recently had a rehab program, so I think it was all reviewed. Susan, did they look at the walls and stucco and things? With Margaritaville when they did the rehab, or the city did?
They did restoration work, so the
But maybe
mosaic
need a-
artist will go
They need a
out there.
pointed hammer and kind of check
yeah.
the stucco.
Okay. And just to clarify on the funding, so it's $10,000, which is basically to the artist for his envision, and then the $50,000 is basically for the installation. I mean, we call it a mosaic artist, but it's basically an installer, right?
well, the
No disrespect to his talents. I'm
right.
just
Say
here.
right. Say Adams is the $10,000 is quite frankly a percentage of his fee that is offset by BFA.
Okay.
So his artwork, as you can imagine, is not inexpensive in his time as well. It's his intellectual property. So yes, at this time,
That's
the
my next question.
$50,000. Now the mosaic artist, he's not just a painter or somebody who slaps tiles down. He'll be working with the tiles, cutting the tiles, placing them, and he will be working very closely with Mr. Adams to ensure that the color and the integrity of the artwork is maintained. So I understand what you're saying, but I think there's a little bit more to his trade.
I didn't want to take anything away from his talent.
I understand.
Wanted to be clear. The other questions is, and it's hard to remember again, but it's not just in a west-facing profile, it's the north and south. So is this covering the north and south so you can actually see it coming from the north or the south?
Well,
Or
those
is that what we're talking
panels
about
that,
too,
that do, those angled panels on the right, the north and south side, they are angled. I think you'll be able to see something, but obviously it depends on where you're standing or, you
I
know.
think we have
so-
to carry it around, whatever,
Now-
whatever the artist has to do to
Right.
kind of
It's not only.
the whole thing.
Right. The artist, we can have a conversation with Mr. Adams to make that modification
Yeah,
and
we wanna
wrap
do-
it
we wanna do
around.
the whole thing,
It will increase. I'm not
Yeah.
really worried about, say, Adams. I'm not worried about anything, quite frankly, about this. But I do want to point out that the larger the mural, the mosaic between the labor, the time, the thought, and the product, that is where the price increase. That's where we're going to see, because we really did negotiate what I believe to be a very good price. And the bigger this gets, the more expensive.
Central, a landmark in our city. It has hundreds of people 5 days a week, sometimes over 1,000, listening to music. The beach is the most attended place in the city. This is where the investment, I think we're happy to make it, and this is where we deserve to have, honestly, the main highlight of the beach is this band shell. So let's go all the way. Let's go 360. It's what the board wants, and let's make it happen as quick as we can also.
As Commissioner Colleri always says, go big or go home. Which
Make it the
my
coolest it can
last
be.
my last comment or question is not just to tap into the CRA funds for this whole thing, but we have an art fund, right? That we have some money. Do we have money in the art fund at the city level?
I think very little right now.
Talking about it.
Check the amount, but it wasn't much there, yeah.
It was like under 10,000 last time they updated us.
But I mean, there's other developments that are coming
Yeah,
along.
I think we've got plenty in the
And we could always get BFA to pay more.
We'll incorporate all the ideas and bring you back a package, including cost and design and logistics.
Go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if we're going to do it, we might as well do it right.
Yeah.
So it's
Indeed.
going to last 100 years. And maybe he can incorporate the 100 logo into it so that when people look back 25 years, it's kind of dated so that we know how,
All right, Board Member Gruber.
I love it. I like all the ideas and bring it around. My only issue, and I agree with Commissioner Biederman, is that everybody sitting in front of this piece of art is going to be sitting with their backs facing it, because those are the people on the beach. So, that bothers me a little bit. Is it not possible to put it somewhere else, like Garfield Street? Did we look at other locations? And I get it. This is the highlight of our broad walk, the band shell. But to know that it's going on the back of it, where the people that are in front of it are sitting on the beach facing the ocean instead of this, it's that's what's giving me a little bit of heartache. Did we explore other places? Is this sized just for this? Can it be sized for something else? I can't picture what's on Garfield Street, but maybe some of the sides of those paddleball courts. I'm just thinking out loud before we kind of give the okay on this, that this would be the best location on the beach for it, because the people in front of it are going to be having their back to it.
Right. Well, you do have to leave the beach and walk towards it too. So, but
Right. So when the people will see it is the people
right.
who are coming to the beach leaving.
Right.
Right.
We did. We looked at all different locations. We looked at many of the murals are on private property. We looked on private locations. We looked at publicly held locations. And we believe that this was the best location.
Well, let me just try to help and say that while this might not be, enjoy the visibility of all the millions of people who walk the Broad Walk every day, doesn't mean we can't do a mural somewhere else that's in other locations. Let's not, hold back on this. Let's do the band shell right. I think when people walk on the shoreline, they'll be able to see this. It'll be really cool. It'll be there forever. And let's do more murals elsewhere.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I just because of the location on the back there, I was just thinking, because we didn't see any alternative locations. So I was just wondering if those were explored and what they were or whatever. But no, I love it. I love the idea of wrapping it around so people get the theme and then they can walk back and see it. That's just my only disappointment, is that more people won't be able to see it when there's so many people there. You know, that's it. But no, I'm all for it. Thank you.
All right, let's go to Board Member Kaleri, and then we'll close with Board Member Quintana. Vice Chair.
So after Commissioner Gruber's comments about, I loved that we talked about the band shell, and now, thinking out of the box, like, is there a better location that there is more visibility to some extent, This is such an amazing piece of work that I think maybe there are other areas that might be more visible or more, prominent. But with that being said, so I did get a text message asking, because we have the bike path going behind the concerts and that area gets pretty congested, and then you're gonna have people taking selfies, what would we do for bike and, I feel like it's gonna create a congestion, possibly. So I don't know, if I look at the picture properly, maybe the one without the mural, it looks like there's a greater band and then a part where they would be able, so it seems like there's enough room. Okay, perfect. And then can you go back to the mural? So just curiosity, where it says Florida's Hollywood, can it be changed? Is that stuck? I think it should be the city of Hollywood, Florida. Like, that's all I don't know if Florida's Hollywood, I don't know how everyone feels about it, but I see it, it's like, okay, Florida's Hollywood, which we know, but I don't know. Do you think that the city is City of Hollywood, or I don't know how everybody feels about it, just curiosity?
I like the city of Hollywood, City of Hollywood.
Or do you like Florida's Hollywood? Or a logo on there, yeah, that would be cool.
Or Hollywood Beach, Florida. Hollywood Beach, Florida.
This makes it look like Hollywood is the prominent thing.
Mm-hmm.
Florida is Hollywood, meaning that there was another Hollywood somewhere else and we have to highlight
Right.
ours. I like the one that we prominent ourselves.
Would be what, Hollywood Beach? Or
Hollywood Beach.
Hollywood Beach, Florida? Just the geographical, hey, this is where it is, Hollywood Beach, Florida? All right, so, take that back, please, Lisa. Hollywood Beach, Florida.
Okay, that's an easy one.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, that's good. Vice Chair Quintana?
I just wanted to support Commissioner Biederman's comments about the structural integrity. I mean, I thought at some point we kind of said that we wanted to focus CRA resources on resilience, and that was the priority. And so certainly this is a beautiful piece of art. I think it's going to be wonderful, but just making sure that the building will be there as long as the mosaic. And I think that should be a priority. And so I also I don't remember us seeing options for location. Maybe it came to us, but I just don't remember having a conversation. Forgive me, I'm entering that phase where I forget things. So I'll go with what the majority thinks of, but I just would have liked to maybe think about where else it could go. I think the mayor's idea that we could have things related in other pieces of art in other parts of the beach. It doesn't have to be, say, Adams artwork. I like what you said about that. But I like Florida's Hollywood because a lot of times people don't know that we are not Hollywood, California. So it kind of makes that distinction with just less words. So I actually thought that wasn't a bad way to do it. And that's my input. Thank you.
All right, Lisa. Well, and CRA staff, we've got a directive to go 360 with the mural design all the way around, decide whether or not the bottom footer should be mosaic art or the concrete recast similar to the knee wall for purposes of maintenance and things. And let's go all the way fast, and let's not delay, and let's make this happen as quickly as possible. If you have updated designs, bring them forward regarding the front, and let's just help. Even Susan, if for whatever reason you think, from an execution standpoint, we would do the front and the north and south separate from this project, if that's the way it would work most efficiently from a procurement / execution standpoint. Let's just make it happen, and make it happen. All right.
I just want clarification, if you don't mind. So we want to wrap the mural in some capacity, 360 degrees. The knee wall is an opportunity to do so, and possibly bring it around in some capacity, not necessarily straight lines, but possibly feeling out around in a 360 capacity, so that individuals who are standing on the on the Broadwalk will see something, like not necessarily a completely a wall of mosaic, but or possibly that will lead them to be curious and follow it around.
Art and color all the way around the building. Love stays here. We're not taking. But I'm not the artist, but I just want the whole band shell to pop in these colors and an artistic design. You guys get it. Susan, you get it, right? Yeah.
I think the intent is to tell the artist that we want the front and sides of the building incorporated into the design, and let him complete the design.
Yeah.
And that would be executed with mosaic tile as well.
Yeah, and it doesn't necessarily mean that this backside changes an iota. It's just a matter of continuing doing the additional sections. Yeah. Got it?
Thank you.
All right.
Got it.
You got it. Thanks. All right. Thank you so much. Excited. Excited. Was there any sense of timing on this, Susan? Lisa? Yeah.
I do want to point out, every time we do make a change, it does take time where we have to get in communication with the artist, say Adams, who is very much available to us. However, this is also a very busy man, so we'll provide him with the photographs and the specifications. We have to go out and measure all the specs and send that to him and give him the directive. He will work on the design, and as an artist, I can't tell you how long that will take. He's been very easy to work with.
What
and
would
then-
have been the timing for this exact item that we just saw?
How long?
If we say
Like-
today, it's good to go.
Well,
Chances are,
What was your expectation in terms of installation?
installation on this?
Yeah.
If it was approved as is, I would take the design, send it to the mosaic artist today, and knock out a contract with him. And the intention was to have it in production in December.
So
That was our intent at some point.
happen because we're not changing this.
That was, with no change, no wraparound, no nothing. If we're depending on having additional modifications made, wrapping around, including mosaic with his design, or,
Hold on, George. We didn't change any of this design. There's no reason why we can't let the mosaic installer go with the existing design, get that December timetable going. In the meantime, the artist looks at the size in the front. Hopefully, he can get to it quickly. If that has to follow the mosaic and is, later in a second phase, I don't want to hold back the first phase, right? We don't want to do that. So that's easy. I mean, the name of the city is, that's not a problem, right?
I'm not sure what we agreed upon, though, what you agreed upon.
Beach, Florida.
Hollywood Beach, Florida, and we'll keep it staggered as it is. Hollywood Beach on top, Florida on the bottom. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. All right. All right, you guys get it.
Yeah,
All
don't hold back on that. Do we need a vote to make that happen?
Well, we need to just have the agreement come to the next meeting and just go ahead.
We understand the intent, yeah. It's,
Great, thank you.
All right. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
All right. Item 9 is a presentation by Susan Goldberg, Deputy Director of the CRA, on the Coastal Resiliency Phase 4 East-West Streets State Road A1A construction project, including update by Burkhart Construction on an update on the FDOT pump participation construction by FJ Group. I guess City Manager, that's where you pointed out that we'll be talking about the resiliency. All right. Let's go ahead. Sarita.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Vice Chair, Board members. Sarita Shamas, Senior Project Manager, Hollywood CRA. The CRA is very pleased to present a construction project status of the Coastal Resiliency Phase 4 for both the East-West and the State Road A1A segments. Adam Rosmel from Burkhardt Construction is going to be making the presentation, but I want to acknowledge Nick Fasullo, Project Manager for Burkhardt Construction, and Mark Kleisley, Vice President of Burkhardt Construction. This presentation will be followed by an FDOT pump presentation, and this would be presented by Jesus Sarmiento from the FDOT department. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Adam Rosmel with Burkhardt Construction, project manager for the Phase 4 streetscape and underground improvements on the beach. So today we're going to give a little presentation about what's been going on over there. As I'm sure you've heard and seen, we have had a lot of things going on, also in conjunction and coordination with FDOT. Depending on the day, there's a whole lot of stuff going on A1A on the south side between Hollywood Boulevard and Hallandale Beach. So just the overall geographical area, this project encompasses from Hollywood Boulevard south all the way down to Magnolia Terrace. It's 17 streets, and then the surface parking in Keating Park. So storm drainage installation has actually been completed at this time on all the east-west streets. Just a little background on it. Each street originally had 2 catch basins kind of at the end right there at A1A. All the existing inlets and pipes were removed. We installed approximately 4 to 6 new inlets with drainage lines connecting to each, and then a new tie-in manhole was installed at A1A containing a WayPro check valve. The new manhole connects the side street system with the FDOT system on A1A. And then during the installation, we just noted, we encountered conflicts with existing utilities and also dealt with all the wet conditions, high tide, groundwater, and all that kind of stuff. Here's some great photos of what some of the stuff we encountered out there. The far left photo is removal of the existing drain lines. You can see what they used to look like. The kind of center left picture there is the utilities we had to go up and down and around. And then the third picture there is setting the new manhole, mudding in our pipe, and then connecting with a concrete jacket to the FDOT drainage system. And then you see on the right there, those are some of the things we encountered while we were digging during the high tide events. This is one of the WayPro check valves actually being installed in our drain line. So our drain line came out of our manhole, tied into the FDOT system, and then the WayPro check valve was on the city side of that. So at this time, again, our storm drainage installation is 100% completed, and all of that work covered from Harrison all the way up to Hyacinth Terrace. As part of this as well, we're relocating some of the fire hydrants on the street in coordination with the streetscape construction and also franchise utilities and all the other stuff. We just wanted to note that. Some of the hydrants have already been installed. We're about 90% complete with those along the east-west streets. Here's just some photos of us doing our fire hydrant installation. The franchise utility conduit installation, so this is for the undergrounding of all the franchise utilities. At the moment, the conduit installation is slightly ahead of where we thought we'd be at this moment.
Good.
All of the east-west conduits are about 90% complete. We've already started out on A1A with the lighting and conduits along A1A. And as we're building the roads, our subcontractor, is tying in all those conduits to A1A. So, and we've actually been in contact with Comcast and AT&T. Some of them are ready to actually start coming out and pulling cable and proofing some of the lines. So we're hoping that as we're moving along, we might be able to do some of that. And then on the private property side, we've also been installing all the conduits on the private property as we've been going down each street as well. So a lot of that's been going, knock on wood, fairly well for just phase. And here's just some photos of us installing the franchise utilities. Some of those photos are out on A1A, east-west conduit tie-in there. And then when we drill through and pull back the big reel on the third photo, we attached all those and pull all those back all the way through the hole we've just drilled. So again, we're out on A1A at the moment, and the east-west drilling is, I think, mostly complete. Every now and then we have to re-drill something, but for the most part, it's completed. And here's just some more photos of what those kind of conduit installation looks like.
Very nice.
And here's some of the franchise utility conduit installation onto private properties. On some of the properties, we're able to directional drill with a smaller machine and get all the way up next to the house without impacting, any of their items. And then we've had other areas where we have to remove sidewalk, put in our conduits, and then restore sidewalk or pavers or grass or whatever. And every time we go up, we coordinate with the property owner, make sure they know what our scope of work is going to be. Sometimes you can't even tell we were there after we put the pavers back, and now you just have a conduit, sticking up on your wall. So.
Good.
And then the other thing we've actually started doing as well, in coordination with the condominiums and some of the commercial properties, some vault work, which is just where all the FP&L equipment comes into their vault rooms in each of these buildings. We've been doing some of these outages during the down season, and so that when we actually switch over to the full underground system, the outage will only be 30 minutes or something, or some buildings might not even be out at all. So we've been able to schedule a lot of these during the off season so that we're not impacting them during high season. And that's been very successful, coordinating with each condominium owner or property group. Here's just some photos of the equipment that you see in those vault rooms. As you can tell, we take the photos outside and let the professionals stay inside because there's a lot of high voltage power coming in and out of those rooms. Streetscape construction. We finally started streetscape construction. So we started on Van Buren Street, kind of end of August, early September, and then it immediately rained, I think, every day for like 20 days straight. We've completed the sidewalks on both the north and south sides of Van Buren, and we just closed the road starting last week to actually start building the roadway. So right now, the roadway on Van Buren is under construction. We anticipate that's going to take 4 to 5 weeks, and then we'll reopen the road. Here's kind of what our streetscape construction looked like for curb installation and sidewalk installation on both the south and north sides. So again, the 2 sidewalks on Van Buren are completely open. We're building the roadway right now. Again, here's just some photos of us starting the roadway demolition and grading. And then we do set up barriers everywhere to get in and out of the different businesses. Like on Van Buren, we have Sardelli's. We've been putting in a crosswalk every night so they can walk down the sidewalk, get to their parking lot, come across into the restaurant. And we've been coordinating with them and all the other property owners as far as parking, where their customers can go, all that kind of stuff. As part of this too, the private property harmonization takes place right after we finish our streetscape. Sometimes if we can get done with it, we finish, like on Van Buren, we finished the north sidewalk, and we did some of the private property harmonization up there while we were building the south sidewalk. So we were able to do that. Again, the private property harmonization includes removing and replacing portions of sidewalks and driveways to ensure a smooth transition onto the new sidewalks. And all areas are restored with like-kind materials to match. So if they had concrete before, they get concrete. If there was pavers, we pick up all the pavers and relay them at a new grade. And so we've been coordinating with each property owner to review and approve those transitions as well. This was actually the property we did on Van Buren. So the photos on the left, we demoed it all out, graded it down to the new sidewalk elevation, and then re-poured all new concrete along there, and then re-tied in all the pavers. So just a little schedule. The Van Buren Street roadway streetscape is underway. We think that'll take approximately 4 weeks. After Van Buren, we're going to start working our way south, so the next street will be Virginia Street. We anticipate to start that in the beginning of November. Directional drilling for franchise utilities along South Ocean Drive and A1A will continue, and the final utility tie-ins will continue on the east-west streets. We are still on schedule, kind of what we laid out before, where each street takes about 8 or 9 weeks from sidewalk, and then roadway, and then we'll move on to the next one. And then in conjunction with this, we've been coordinating, we have a weekly coordination call with the FDOT pump contractor, pump station contractor, so that we can coordinate our MOTs and all that kind of stuff to make sure we don't have conflicting lane closures, shutdowns. So if they have a lane closed in the median, we make sure our lane isn't closed right next to them, so that you whittle down A1A to one lane in a certain area. So we've been coordinating that as well, and we'll continue to do that. And then resident outreach. Most, if not all, of the businesses and property owners have my cell number or Nick's cell number, along with Melissa, the CRA's community liaison. So I think everyone talks to us and texts us multiple times now, so we're very in tune with everyone over there. And so that continues, obviously, especially with all the work that we're doing. So we just continue that. And before we go on to individual properties, we make sure they understand our scope of work, what our tie-in is, how far we're going back, and what to kind of expect, and also our schedule, so that they know how long they're going to be impacted. And that was our update for Phase 4, so I'll take any questions.
Thank you. Let's go to Board Member Hernandez.
Thank you, Mayor. Adam, can we go to slide 6, please?
Sure. Was that the one with the storm drainage?
That's the one with the manhole.
Yes.
That one right there.
Yeah.
This is the, in essence, it works as a backflow to make sure that the water doesn't go back into the street, correct? But you tie it into the existing DOT drainage system.
Yes.
Do they have the same thing at the outfall of this thing? Because otherwise what happens is we don't allow the water in the part that you guys done, but the water actually comes up, bubbles up through the manhole. And that goes to what Bob was talking about, because then we're doing everything on our end,
Correct.
but half of the job is being done. The other half of the job on the outfall is not being done. I just want to make sure that the board actually knows that, and I'm answering, but I don't know if you.
No, correct. So we don't actually know what's in their system on that time, unlike let's say the intercoastal side.
Correct.
I can't answer that. We have witnessed what Bob has witnessed, where our street isn't actually backing up, but if there's an inlet between, I know specifically like Georgia and Jefferson, the water finds its way over there and bubbles out of there and then floods onto Georgia and Jefferson. So I can't speak to the DOT system,
I know.
but we've witnessed that same thing.
I just want for clarity for our board.
Peter, why don't we ask Vin or Chris O'Brien to speak on that?
Okay.
I was going to say DOT's here.
DOT's here,
So
okay.
I think they're going to do their own presentation.
Okay, so I just want to make sure that for our purpose, that we know that what we're doing is basically trying to seal what we're installing.
Yes.
But from that point of installation where you actually tie into their system from there on, it's unknown. And
Yes.
maybe they can answer some of those questions. That's all. I just wanted you guys to see that this is it's a brand new one that looks nice and round and there's no issue. But
Yeah.
whenever you have an older facility, if you would, it has a lot of kinks and quirks and a lot of stuff that goes through there. It sometimes jams it as well. So, but thank you. That was
Sure.
my own question.
No problem.
All right. Board Member Shuham.
Thank you, Chair. Well, same exact comment, that I just want people to understand these are two connecting systems. And really just wanted to say thank you. This is like literally hand-to-hand combat out there, for lack of a better term. But I know that the residents in the area deeply appreciate the commitment that Burkhardt has made, and also Melissa is fantastic.
Yes.
And, the idea that we have residents directly contacting our contractors, I would say it's not common, but for you guys, it is common.
we've dealt with it the whole time we've been here.
Yeah, so just a simple, really just a simple thank you. This is very tedious, time-consuming work, and you've done a great job, and look forward to hearing from FDOT to understand
The other side.
why why A1A is still
Sure.
flooding, so, thanks.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
All right, well, that's a great handoff to A1A. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Burkhart.
Thank you.
Let's go ahead and invite our folks from the Florida Department of Transportation and FJ Group.
Morning, everyone.
Welcome.
I'm Jesus Sarmiento. I'm the project manager for the A1A pump project. Let's wait for the presentation. But before the presentation, I want to give a little bit of an overview of the project for those that do not know. So right now we're installing 4 pump stations as part of the infrastructure improvement of the DOT. These pumps are located in Sheridan Street, Franklin Street, Van Buren, and Bougainvillea. Those are the 4 locations that we have planned in this 3-year-long project. Last time we spoke, we haven't started yet. We started this project in June, and we have an estimated completion time of summer 2028. That's the bottom line. So I just wanted to give a quick update of where we are right now. Right now, we're working at the Sheridan location and the Bougainvillea location. Can you move the slide? Oh. So these are the 2 locations that we're currently working. Sheridan Street, we are doing a pump station there, but we're also building a seawall. So right now, the seawall construction is what is underway. We started with the sheet piling about 3 weeks ago, and we plan on finishing that in the next 2-3 months. Right now, we're finishing the sheet piling, and then we have to do the bulkhead, the concrete bulkhead of the wall. After that, we will continue with the inlet installations and the pump construction. This is substantial excavation work that is going to be happening there. But for the Sheridan location, we don't foresee any long full closures. For the Sheridan location, it will be about a 72 hours closure for the drainage crossings that we will be installing there. And also, the Sheridan is one of the locations where we have incentive to have the contractor expedite the work, and obviously have less traffic impacts for the public. For Bougainvillea, right now we're working on drainage inlets. As for traffic impacts, we have 1 lane in the southbound closed and 1 lane on the northbound to be able to accommodate construction. And we're basically installing the inlets that will feed the pump at that location. After that, we will continue with the pump installation and the outfall work. Those pictures are showing the traffic switches. I don't know if you guys are familiar with a traffic switch, but essentially that's we reconfigure the lanes that were there by removing the median to be able to accommodate construction but limit the impact to the traffic, because we're not closing lanes. We're just reducing the width to be able to accommodate the construction. So that's why we had those pictures there, is to show you guys what we have. These are more pictures of the current activities. Sheridan, that's where they're building the seawall, and then Bougainvillea is we're just installing the drainage, like I said, that will feed the pump. These are the future activities. These are cut-off sections from the plans. At the bottom, the left, right, you can see that's how the pump looks like from the plan. This is not something that we're going to be able to see because this is mostly underground infrastructure. So yes, it's massive, but it's all going to be underground. There's going to be barely anything above ground except for the electrical panel. And that's it. That's the update.
All right. Mr. Sarmiento, you obviously are the project manager for the 4 pumps.
Right.
Is there anyone here from FDOT, just in general, so I know, that can speak to the existing storm system and the issues there?
No, I don't have that information. I can find someone from drainage design.
We'll invite our utilities department who's coordinating with them to
Right.
speak on that. But I appreciate it. Just wanted to make sure there wasn't anyone else that can speak to the broader issue. But go ahead, Board Member Hernandez.
I think you just asked a question that I was going to ask, and if he's not familiar with it, he's not going to be able to answer that. But I think that one of the things that we need to communicate to them is that we would love to be able to have some answers if those things are not in place. When are they going to be in place, and if there's any funding, or can we go ahead and do that work and then be refunded by them? Those are the questions that we had a few months ago, and I know you guys are working on that. Just see if we can get an update from them.
Let's have this.
We
see.
will.
Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, we will get those pieces put together and bring you back an information on the best way to get it done. All right.
Okay.
I can put you guys in contact with our district drainage engineer. He will be able to give everyone more light on the existing system that is out there, because I was not involved in the installation or construction of that.
Thank you.
Board Member Shuham?
Thank you. I just want to thank FDOT. I know Jackie's here. She's doing a great job with community outreach and keeping everybody posted on what's happening. What is the completion date for each of the 4 pumps?
For each of the 4 pumps. So right now, we have only started
two
locations. We haven't really started the pump construction. We're basically building the infrastructure
Understood.
to connect to the pump. But right now, our rough plan, because that can change, is to finish these 2 locations in about a year and a half, and then move on to Van Buren and Franklin locations, which will then take another year and a half to complete.
For
So it's a 3-year project overall.
For the Franklin Street, which is not in the CRA, but I thought some of the pre-planning, maybe this is for the city, there was some, that's what it was. There was some city work that had to be done.
Yes, there's some
happening?
water main relocations that are pending
Okay.
right now. But that's Franklin is at least a year and a half away from us starting there.
So my only question is, and the tides have been crazy, but yesterday we had a lot of people at the community center, Bougainvillea, and there's a ton of water on A1A. And so my question is there something that you can do, whether it's temporary pumps or something that you can put out there over the next couple of months until this king tide season ends in December to keep A1A drier where you're working?
We have pumps where, they're for dewatering for our excavation. I know that's not what you're asking. I can reach out to our asset maintenance to see
Please.
if we can provide some support during especially during king tide events.
Yes, I think just the combination of narrowing the lanes and the construction work that's going on there, the water, maybe in other years we deal with it, but because there's so much happening right in that site, to try to keep some of that water off of the roadway would be extremely helpful.
Okay, I'll see what I can do, and I'll copy you on the correspondence just so.
Thank you. And Vin, if you could follow up with them. It's not a good situation during the high tide right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Jesus. Let's go to Vice Chair Quintana.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to thank Burkhart for the way that they did their presentation. You know, so often the things that happen underground, we don't understand. The public doesn't understand what it is and its value. And so to actually take pictures of what's happening underground, I just think, FDOT, as you do your work, if you could also do that, because it really helps, I believe, certainly helps me understand what's happening, not being a mechanical person, but for the public to understand the value and why this is worth investing in. The pictures were great. I just want to thank you.
Okay. Thank you all. Executive Director, could we hear from Vin regarding the beach situation? Obviously, the pilot project has, I think, accomplished 3 out of the 4 streets. How has that panned out in utilities observation? And he's walking up.
Yeah.
And maybe give us an update from his perspective on.
Yeah, or any other related matters going forward. Yep.
Vin?
Good morning. So I'll start with the pilot project, which is really a derivation of what you heard Burkhart was doing. And it's simply this: we can't control FDOT or the responsiveness, so we've established we're going to put WAPROs at the demarcation point between the FDOT utility and ours, and to a point it's working. So we've also through the CRA, engaged engineering firms to go and do I&I studies of FDOT system to force the issue of how badly their system is deteriorated and the maintenance needs. I might suggest, and I always see the frustration from the CRA and from the Commission on the FDOT maintenance of their system, that we make arrangements to have certainly the maintenance person, Tony Castro, here, because it's always, you have James Poole here, and he's very knowledgeable about the capital design, but it always goes to the maintenance, which is Mr. Tony Castro. And maybe even have the district secretary, Steve Braun, here, so he can hear firsthand what the issues are, because
more importantly, from hearing from us, it's for them to observe what's happening on A1A and on the beach. And so, and we're some of us are in touch with Steve Braun. If we just need to send him, if you feel like he needs to be more alerted to what's going on here, then sending him videos of the circumstance is probably the most effective than even a meeting here where we describe. I'd rather him see video or have a field visit. If you need to pull FDOT folks for a field visit, if you feel like they don't realize what's happening, or you want to demonstrate what it is, Tony Castro, the contractor that has a multi-year agreement with them. He should be engaged. I don't know if he's FDOT or he's the contractor,
It's
but
FDOT.
I know they hire a third-party contractor to maintain the system. I mean, is that person on the ground during these king tide events and looking to clean drains that are clogged and actively trying to troubleshoot the situation?
I don't know his day-to-day activities, but he is the FDOT person responsible for tasking the third-party contractor to maintain the system. He is the person that we give our I&I reports to. Let me just say that, just picking up on what Mr. Glickman's observations, here's a case where we put the WAPROs in, they're working, and the water is finding other avenues to bubble up. And then the other, combining that with the field observations that I've shared with the city staff on the emergency chat group, the videos during king tide, at a 3 foot to 3.2 foot tide, you could almost paddleboard from the east side of A1A across right into the intracoastal. So you need also, in addition to the WAPROs, you need the seawalls to keep the water out. Now, that said, let's talk about the pump stations that FDOT is constructing and the other two that we have in design to kind of fill in the gaps. What will change with pump stations is, and maybe project manager from FDOT can speak to this, is when you have these new pump stations, my understanding of the new outfall rules are, because we're looking at our own pump stations on the west side of the intracoastal, no more outfall pipes through seawalls. We have these sort of spillover structures that are elevated above the sea level, and the water comes up and over, and so there's no way for the water to come up and infiltrate like it's been doing. So when we get to that, at least with the FDOT pump stations, there's a wet well. I'm not sure about the spillover structure, but there's a wet well, and so any seawater coming in should stop at the wet well in the pump station or the discharge or at the discharge of the pumps. So the combination of the installation of new pump stations, the eventual elimination and departure from WAPRO valves and flap gates and other backflow preventers, and the installation of seawalls, and of course the pump stations will be of a capacity that can compete with the incoming tide and the rain events. That confluence of all those solutions will ultimately solve it. But in the meantime, the meetings I've had with FDOT in the field, we've shown them where they've had contractor penetrations, conduits drilled through their stormwater. They've acknowledged that they have a process where they contact the contractor that's done the damage and they do a repair effort. And so we've been sharing that for them to institute their own utility repair procedure where they reach out to the third-party contractor, Comcast, AT&T, and say, look, you broke this pipe, have your contractor come out and do a sectional repair or a liner to restore it. And that's, I think, a summation of all the efforts we've had to try to drive FDOT to better maintain their
So
system.
then you mentioned that there's a new standard for, you would describe it as the pump houses that need to have the spillover and be elevated and not through seawalls. Years ago, I had mentioned the idea of basically putting like a 90-degree extension on these outfalls out of the water, so there's no chance for the water, even at high tide, to backflow in. But that would require a forcing out of rainwater. So, and whether that's a stopgap measure that would be only installed during king tide season or whatever. But my question is this: is you mentioned that the pump stations need to have the elevated outfall, forced outfall, but is that a new rule for all outfalls, or like regular road drain outfalls can still be,
So the elevated structure only works on a pumped situation.
Right.
Right. So the reason that all your outfalls are low and at the seawall at almost sea level.
It's gravity.
Gravity.
Right.
It's all sloped, so everything.
So is gravity still allowed, or is gravity not allowed? In that
Gravity is still allowed, but what we're going for is a networked to a pump station just to handle and I don't think gravity will no longer work with the rising sea elevation. Right. So we're building seawalls, obviously,
right,
5-6 feet above the new level. And so,
but even with these four pump systems, even with these four pump systems, not all the systems, the drainage systems are going to connect to these four pumps, or are they? No.
They're going to network.
All of them are going to flow through these four pump systems?
Project manager from FDOT to talk about how they're networked into the pump station.
Let's hear that. Jesus, please come on up. And you want me to ask the question again?
Sorry, yes, please.
And maybe you know the answer to this. The four pumps that you're putting in,
Right.
mainly the three that are between Sheridan and south of Hollywood Boulevard.
Right.
Are those pumps going to be connected to all of the street networks that are there?
We're connecting to the existing system. Yes, we're
But the existing
adding.
system, I understand, is like 3 blocks at a time.
Yes.
Every 3 blocks is a separate outfall.
Right. But
So is
we,
the pump,
we are connecting.
the entire network
Yes.
to the pump systems?
Like we're building a network for the pump, but we're also connecting into the exit.
So once these pumps are activated, are we going to be able to abandon the existing outfalls? Because all the water is going to flow through to your pump system, which has a backflow in it.
That's a question for design. I don't.
Do you know, Susan?
Design.
There are gaps in between the pumps. So
Right.
the pump, let's say at Sherman Street, includes several streets, but then there's no other pump
Right.
till Van Buren. And that's the big
That's
thing.
my
in the
question
south.
is,
Yeah.
are they going to connect to the Van Buren and to the Sherman Street pumps, or the basins stay isolated still?
The pumps are designed for each basin, and the basin is more than one street.
But not all the streets in between Sherman and Van Buren? In other words,
No, there's only one pump being installed, only at Sherman. So
Right.
that's only handling, yeah.
all right, let's clarify, which basins and which blocks, Jesus, and your pump system, if any are not going to be connected to your pump system, we want to know which ones so we can come up with a solution for them.
I mean, I will have to see the plans for that. That's not
Yeah,
something that.
so please get that answer for us if you could.
Okay.
We just want to make sure that all the streets in this network, from Sherman to Van Buren to Bougainvillea, ideally, those would all flow through a pump system and have that, basically, that abandon the old gravity outfalls that are too low now, right? If that's the case, then we don't have to put WAPROs maybe in every single, structure. Obviously, it'd be better to have them. Vin, do you have a recommendation at this point that the pilot program has proven itself and we should go ahead without waiting, put these inline WAPROs in every single, street end?
No, I view this pilot, these WAPROs, as a stopgap measure. The ultimate
Right.
solution I view is the pump stations. And just speaking to Mr. Klickman's point about interconnecting all the basins, we had CDM model that. It wasn't effective. In fact, it caused problems because if you had a heavier flow in one area, you'd have, first of all, if you networked them all, you'd have to build super pump stations, which the land and the area and just the logistics of it doesn't exist. So you actually have more resilience by having smaller pump stations serving basins or a pair of basins,
Okay.
so that you can, if you have one pump station failure, it just doesn't pull down the whole network. But hydraulically interconnecting them actually could
Okay.
cause problems. So
Okay, so smaller pump stations are good.
so that's where we're at, and so we have the 4 under construction. We have the 2 that the CRA initiated. It was a good catch. There was gaps, and so we're designing those 2. And the plan for the beach is just to just continue create
All right, so I think
creating pump stations for the
I think what would be
basins.
good for the CRA board to see is a map of all the streets, from Sherman all the way down to wherever the south limit is in your eyes. I mean, I would say city limits, and show us the FDOT pump systems and which basins they address. Show us the CRA designed and pump systems, which ones, and let's see if there's any gaps in any basins or streets that are not with the current 6 pump stations going to be addressed. And so if we need to start the work on additional pump stations, if you're saying pump stations are the solution, then let's see if there's any gaps. And then separately from that, do you recommend that we put the WAPROs in on all the streets because all this stuff is going to take years?
Yeah, it's correct. So we'll do what we can. We'll put the WAPROs in to keep and maintain our side of the system, and we'll keep hitting FDOT on the lining and repair of their system. And
Even though
that's-
you said the FDOT system has issues, obviously these WAPROs are handling a ton of the effort to reduce the water level and prevent how substantial it is.
And
right?
don't forget, it's a 2-part issue. It's not only the integrity of FDOT system, it's just the sheer fact that the tides are coming over land.
In some cases.
Sheet flowing.
In some cases, yeah.
And,
But not everywhere.
yeah,
Yep.
not everywhere, but
Yeah. All right, thank you. Board Member Shuham, I have you, and then
So
Board Member
then-
Hernandez.
A couple of questions. First, to the mayor, to the chair's point about future plans. I mean, I'm assuming when we're looking at the master plan, to the extent that CDM feels or has determined that the projects in the loop today are inadequate, that they've included work to address future conditions.
I can take a look at that. I think my recollection is that they had looked at FDOT had a plan, and their recommendation was to allow FDOT to continue
That's
with
my
that plan,
recollection, too.
notwithstanding whatever the schedule was.
So
that's
can you, I want to verify that. And so it ties to what the chair is asking, which is, looking ahead, which is what CDM did in the master plan. They're looking ahead, knowing what's coming onto A1A and just confirming that they're good, or here are the few projects that they believe are
We
also.
can, I'm sure they know, the plan shows what's needed, and then we can tie that together with what the schedule, what FDOT thinks they're going to build, what's remaining. And one other thought to answer Commissioner Hernandez's question, the preliminary answer whether we can maintain FDOT system and get reimbursed is no. We've reached out and asked them and said, hey, we want to, without an agreement in place, and I think we've even conferred or, looped in the city attorney on this, we, without having an agreement in advance, the ability to grab
the
money from
money.
FDOT after the fact is nil.
So
Don't have the
that was my second part of my question was, with respect to the I&I information that you're sharing with FDOT, we had talked at a few meetings ago about the ability for our staff to direct their contractor. And that, I think, is the ILA that I was curious about. If there's an emergency situation, do we have the contacts at the FDOT maintenance company to make sure that we can get them out here?
I don't believe we have the authority to direct their contract, or we have the FDOT contacts, such as Tony Castro, and we tell them. In fact, there was a video that was shared at one of the last rainstorms with Federal Highway flooding, and I shared that with Mr. Castro and Mr. Poole and told them to look at the system to see if it was functioning properly.
I think, City Manager, that they were here, I don't know, it feels like 6 months ago, but maybe longer, and we talked about this idea of how best to take advantage of the maintenance contract that FDOT has on our city roads or roads within our city. And I think it's, unless you're completely satisfied with the current system, it seems like what I remember is they weren't that thrilled with the maintenance work. Nothing was being done in a prospective way. Everything was reactive.
Well, it's true. It's FDOT. It's their system. I don't know what the precedence would be to be able to write essentially a check out of FDOT's checkbook to have their contractor go fix their system. I don't think we would have that control.
Of course.
Maybe an ILA or something, maybe a piggyback with their contract where we use our own funds, but certainly we'd want in that ILA the ability to get reimbursed by using their contract with their unit prices, but directed by us. And I don't know what that would look like, but that's something.
I mean, it's really something we need to pursue. FDOT is huge. They have so much going on. For us, this is really has to be addressed more
And
promptly.
the final option maybe to look at is, as a city, as a municipality, if we don't feel we're being served by a state department very well, I don't know what
Legal remedies?
litigation or whatever, claims we could make to kind of compel them to better serve to a standard.
Right.
Our area. I don't know.
Right. I mean, that was kind of how we left it at that other meeting was the maintenance contractor needs to start doing maintenance. It can't all be reactive. And that was the discussion about an ILA, looking at what their scope was. And I personally, I would like you to pursue that with them. Maybe there's other cities that have come up with something. Obviously, we can't direct spending of FDOT funds, but maybe there is a way to allow the city to ensure that the maintenance obligations are being handled. And then, I guess, Jackie, this one's for you. What Vin is saying is that he is sharing with FDOT breaks in the system that need to be repaired, and that you guys are then reaching out to whoever's responsible to get them fixed. I would like a list of where each of those breaks are and what the status of the repair is. Can we get that from you? Okay.
You can get that from us.
Jackie, you can come up to the microphone if you want to respond. Yes.
Yeah.
On the record?
Yeah, sure. You're the PR person. Come on up.
I was just going to say, yes, we can do that.
Okay, so we would like that very promptly. Like, as you might imagine right now, these king tides, it used to be we would have a couple of days, but this is going to continue until December. And so I would like that very, very promptly. So if it takes, some extra nudging from our staff to those contractors, we need to get that. So I would just like a list of everything you've received from the city and the status of the repair, if you could get that to us, like within a week.
Yeah, and you said from Van Buren to,
I mean, for me, I would just do all of A1A, but we're at a CRA meeting, so that is basically Sheridan to Hallandale Beach
and you're
Boulevard.
talking about maintenance complaints?
I'm talking about what Vin is reporting. We have undertaken to examine the stormwater lines under your road, which is your responsibility, but because we're having severe problems in the city, Vin has undertaken these investigations and has reported defects to FDOT.
Okay.
So I want a status report on each one that's been reported by the city to FDOT, who's responsible and what the status of the repair is.
And you submitted those? Okay, if you could send them to me that way. Oh, sorry, if you could send them to me, that would be helpful, so I can.
Right, so they, who are you sending them to, Susan?
I mean, we should make this request to Steve Braun, honestly, and not to
Yeah,
Jackie.
well, because if it's through
Let's send Steve an email with the same request, Board Member Shuham.
Okay, but
Yeah.
Jackie, I mean, she's amazing, she can get it for us, but I'm Susan, who are you sending them to?
I think Sarita's been coordinating with Public Utilities.
Okay.
So.
I can try
But we
and-
can absolutely just send the email directly to you or directly to Steve, not a problem.
We can copy everybody.
There's just a lot of cooks in the kitchen.
Yes.
Wouldn't you know who's getting them? We should know by Public Works or CRA, like who's getting this email of you, so we have verification.
Tony.
Castro's gotten them. So can we get
So
a
what
copy of that?
I
and then
want
follow
a
up with-
catalog of what we have found and where they are with the repair, but this is on FDOT. Like, we've already expended funds and gone above and beyond what the municipal side should be doing, but that's okay. We wanted to do that. And now the information is going to FDOT, and we need to know the status of these repairs.
And did Tony Castro ever get back to you?
No idea. Vin is sending it to him, but I am asking for the status and the timing of each of the repairs.
Okay. I can get with, I've never worked with Tony, so I can't really speak on where the status of these inquiries are. I can try and help. This is the first I'm hearing about this disconnect that seems to be happening. In all honesty, I'm sure Tony would be the first person you would want to contact, just because I am not within that realm of maintenance. I work specifically with construction, so it would be kind of me going into someone else's house somewhat. He would be like, why are you asking?
Okay.
But I can do.
Then to the mayor's point, we can just reach out to the secretary. If that's the best way.
Executive Director.
If I might, we will, on the communications, we will do that and copy everybody on the detail issues. But Vin and I will have direct contact with Mr. Braun, discuss the overriding issue, and then ask him to actually come here once prepped, and so that we can make sure all the pieces are fitting together.
Right. I just feel like we are already going above and beyond.
Understood.
And then FDOT now has to reach out to the slew of all different contractors. I just want a catalog somewhere so we can track the progress.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
All right, and let's see, status. What, Vin, and I don't know, maybe this is Jesus, but do you know the status of the FDOT seawall project?
Off the top of my head, no. Just want to point out that quarterly, I've been sending largely a bit to the mayor and to you, Commissioner Shuham, a quarterly tracking report of all the FDOT projects, including at least not a
the seawall.
breakdown by basin, but it says we completed this basin. These
No, I love
next
that.
basin in queue. We're also in the process of hiring I mean, we have the approved position as a senior project manager to handle specifically the stormwater on the beach and those projects.
Fantastic.
As well as I heard somebody asking about a Vector. We're pulling money from the CRA to
Andre
buy
Brown.
a Vector to.
Okay. All right, thank you. Actually, Jesus, do you know the status of the seawall project by any chance?
I do not. I mean, I can talk for the ones that we are doing. We're
That's
doing
what I
as-
mean, yours.
Yes, so that's what I said. We're building, Sheridan is under construction right now. I believe the sheet piling is completed, which is the,
All the way through?
yeah, all the way through. Yeah, I will say about 300-400 feet.
So the water's stopped now.
The sheet piling program was still going on yesterday when I went through.
Yeah, me too.
They were still doing it. It's
Yes,
not-
they have about 2 days left.
Okay,
Yes.
Yeah, so it's not
And
completely.
is that the only location?
No, we have another one in Franklin, which we will start in about a year and a half.
But that's it, nothing south of,
No, those are the two seawalls that we have under this project.
Okay.
If there are more, it will, I mean, I'm not
It's just-
aware
do
of.
you know
It
about
will
how
have to
many-
come from
How
design.
many feet around Franklin? Do you know, roughly?
I will have to see the plans to give you an answer on that.
Gotcha. Because is there a way to accelerate that? Because we
It-
have the water running over, and is it, if you could please, see if you can mobilize the seawall work and not wait a year and a half to start that seawall work on the Franklin side, it would help us with the situation with the water running over the existing elevation of the wall or berm that's there today.
That's something we can talk about. I don't know if the contractor is able to work at 3 locations at the same time. So if that's
But if this
something
one
that
is
I will
done-
have, excuse me?
But you said Sherman is basically done, 2 days?
No, the
sheet piling.
sheet piling. That's
I mean-
that's the first step,
Right.
basically. After that, they have to be cut. The bulkhead has to be built. They all fall. I mean,
What I mean really
there's
is-
still work to be done there.
I mean, the sheet piling is what stops the water, right? So
Sheet piling is the metal that they do in order for you
Yes,
not to have
correct.
road erosion, but it stops the water.
Right.
In essence, but it's
the
not-
wall.
It's not a sealed, it's a metal thing that does it, yeah.
Right.
Right.
I mean, if they can accelerate the
But
sheet-
that's something. I mean, that is designed, is ordered.
Yeah.
I don't know if the
I'm asking if it could be
contractor.
done sooner, and
we
so if you could look at that, that's what I'm asking.
we can look at that. Yes.
That's all.
Okay.
All right.
Mayor,
Thank you,
Yeah, go
thanks,
ahead,
Jesus.
Board Member Hernandez.
Okay, thank you. At this point, I see a lot of this, finger pointings. I don't know, it's not my project, it's somebody else's project. If it's okay with the board, I would ask at this point that we actually instruct our attorney to actually ask for a public records request to the FDOT director for this area, which I believe is District 4, for the information that we are requesting. So that doesn't matter who has it, it is his responsibility to provide it to us. Do I have support from the board to do that?
I mean, I think sending them a request, they're usually responsive. I don't know.
It hasn't been responsive. I've asked
No?
the same thing for months ago, and we still don't have answers today. It's not the individuals that come in front of us here today. They have a particular specific job, and they're giving us great information regarding the specific job. But I asked months ago if we could have an agreement with the DOT in order for us to be able to fix the issues and have them refunded at the same rate that they paid their contractor. And the answer is, we still don't have an agreement. I don't even know if we've even asked him if we could do that. So somehow we need to get the ball rolling. The CRA is going to close soon, and this fund is going to start coming out of our pockets rather than the CRA. We need to be able to address this thing sooner than later. So the one request that I'm going to ask to see if I have support for, and we'll go in steps if you guys don't want to go such broad, can we ask for a public records request of the maintenance of the CRA, issues? I mean, the CRA the maintenance for the FDOT regarding the outfalls of the CRA area. Do I have support for that?
Yeah.
Okay, so we can ask them as a public records request. This way they don't have to point the finger, somebody else has the information. That's number one. So this way we get the ball rolling. And then could you please find out if we could do an ILA or an agreement, as has been requested months ago, for their contractor to do their work in a reimbursement basis. In other words, if the contractor can't do it because he's too busy, can our department do the work and be reimbursed at the same rate that they pay their contractor? In other words, we're not trying to get anything out of it. If the contractor has a per outfall price of, we call it $500,000, if we do the work, can we get reimbursed a $500,000? Only because we got millions and millions and millions of dollars of property being flooded on a perpetual basis, and everybody just seems to be pointing the finger at each other. We have 4 projects that are going to be done in 3 years, 4 pumps, but we have other areas that need to be addressed as well. How many years is that going to happen? The CRA is not going to be in place 3 years from now. So these are the things that I'd like to see if we could do, so we just get the ball started.
Yep. If I may, we will certainly incorporate that. And again, what I'd recommend and what we intend to do is Vin and General Counsel and myself, we'll meet directly with Mr. Braun, and we'll go through all these issues with him, and we will connect the dots, and we will find a way to put the pieces together and get the information. All right?
Can we do that before the end of the year?
We will do it as soon as possible, certainly before the end of the year.
Okay, and if not, can we ask for a workshop with the DOT and their staff so that they can have everybody, whether their staff and their contractors, in order for us to have a workshop, and we can do it on the beach?
Part of our request and meeting with him will be for his and appropriate staff to actually be here once prepped on the issues to direct all those kind of answers. Yep.
Because as long as I can remember, we've been asking this thing, the issues with the king tides, they're just getting worse and worse.
We're going to cut to the chase. Yep. Yep.
That would be,
George, please take photos and video of the situation when you meet with him at the office.
Yep.
do you have any questions for me?
We will.
I just want to clarify, would you prefer that this be done through a meeting with the?
No, the public records request regarding the maintenance, I think I have support for. I think
There was.
that's information that even whoever we meet with is probably going to want to have. And unless we ask for it in writing, in a legal format, I don't think we're going to get a straight answer. We may not get a straight answer, period, but at least we will ask.
And General Counsel, to what Board Member Hernandez is referring to, obviously a copy of the agreement and any services provided under that agreement and requests for service from the city or from internal from DOT, from a certain point in the past to date, right, Peter?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we can go in the last 24 months if we have it, because I know sometimes they only do once a year. And last time, if I remember correctly, the gentleman from DOT said that they do the clean out and the maintenance once a year. And we asked if we could do it biannually, and we got crickets. We didn't have an answer, and we don't have the actual schedule if they actually done their yearly maintenance.
So records from the past 24 months regarding the copy of the agreement, any services provided under that agreement, and any requests that we've made pursuant to that agreement.
Yeah, and any services that have been done, in other words. Thank you.
And, yeah, okay. All right, good. Let's go to Board Member Coleri.
Just to kind of close out, I think the topic, we kind of beat it to death, but as you can see, and I think staff knows as well, first of all, I want to thank Jesus for dealing with us. Sometimes we can be a little nitpicky, but it's because there's an issue, and you can clearly see that, Jackie, as well. Anyone who's driven down A1A in the last couple of weeks had noticed the king tides and the severe impact it has. I really do like your initiative to try to push to do outside contract to see if we can at least get the barrier up to help prevent the water. I mean, we talked about this years, and we have to do something. So if there's a way that can be done, I don't think you got support from it, but I think that that's a really great idea if it's allowable. I just don't know. I guess that's a meeting you have to have with FDOT to get that permission from them, or is an ILA that we can make with them? Yeah. I mean, to me, I think that really is being proactive and going in hard to get this issue resolved instead of just saying we're in the works, This goes towards our, our resiliency plans. I think it's really important that we get that done.
It's on the list. Yep. We're going to propose that, I assure you.
Okay, perfect. Okay, thank you.
Just two things real quick. Jesus, when you all have your operations for the two pumps that you're working on now, part of the things that you do is put this filter fabric that blocks the inlet to the storm drain so that sediment doesn't get in there because of your construction operations, but it also slows down drainage when we need drainage. So if you could review with your team, the construction team, what they should be doing with that filter fabric during the king tides, when should they remove it? When should they make sure it's there? Right now it's pretty sloppy and they seem like jammed up in the throat of the inlet. And so, however, the regulations that you work under with regards to that
Usually they're removed when there's heavy rainfall and king tide events. So
well, if you could just
I'll make sure that
go over that with the team so that they realize it's more sensitive in this project than it is in other projects, perhaps, right?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. And then just Susan, to the CRA, the two CRA pumps. What's the timeline status of those, and where are they going?
The one at Daffodil, sorry, that pump is in permitting with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers.
Okay.
And the other pump, we are looking to bring on a consultant to start the design on that.
And do you know where that would be in the realm of the north-south? Do you know what street that would
We
be?
hope to bring something to you in December, I think, for at least consulting services.
Central Beach or South Beach?
No, that would be the pump for Basin 123 between Jackson and Jefferson Street.
Okay. All right. Well, those are good two spots that we need it. Okay. And then once we get that that report from you guys and the map showing these 6 pumps, the 4 FDOT, the 2 CRA, what other basins are not yet designed or contemplated or are able to be connected to one of the 6 pumps, we'll know how many more pumps and where we might want to start working on, right?
Yes, well, we're coordinating all this with public utilities. It's kind of their, yes.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, that's pretty clear, right, Vin? Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you all. Necessary discussion. Thank you, Jesus. I know you have the 4 pump project, but the issue is broader than what you're working on, even though what you're working on is part of the solution. Thank you. All right. You're free to go if you wish, guys. FDOT folks. You could stay if you like to. All right. Let's go ahead and shift gears and exhale. We have a presentation by Joanne Hussey, Director of Communications, Marketing, and Economic Development, regarding an update on the fiscal year 26 CRA media ad buy. A lot more fun to talk about than infrastructure, but
It is
obviously
fun. It's all good stuff.
It's all necessary. Go ahead.
Okay, Mayor, thank you. Vice
Josh,
Mayor.
welcome, by the way.
CRA board members, executive director, and staff. I'm Joanne Hussey, Director of Communications, Marketing, and Economic Development. And as the mayor said, I'm here to present an overview of the CRA's Economic Development Media Advertising Buy for fiscal year 2026. Each spring, the CMED team works to create an advertising plan to launch in the new fiscal year. This exercise includes analyzing past performance, selecting the appropriate outlets for outreach, and defining our audience, crafting our message, and negotiating the best placement and price for the city. Once we procure the vendor, we create our ads and we place them. This is followed up with constant analysis to check that our return on investment, or ROI, is where it needs to be, and we make any necessary adjustments before we start the whole process over again. This process is mirrored by the city's advertising media buy for our event and destination marketing, as well as our economic development advertising. The focus today that we're speaking about is for the CRA ad buy for this fiscal year, and we're focusing in on retail recruitment. There's been recent talk about vacancy rates in downtown, so the retail recruitment focus is appropriate. This buy will also educate on the infrastructure improvements that we were just talking about, the investment that's underway, as well as the focus on our two economic drivers, the beach and downtown. We're very aware that we're using taxpayer dollars, so in order to maximize the spend, our focus remains leveraged on high-performing media outlets that can provide measurable key performance indicators, or KPIs, for each of our ads. This approach eliminates waste for funds, and it helps to determine if we are on the right course or if an adjustment in the campaign is needed. The vendors that we are working with all have the ability to provide this data, facts, and analytics. We can measure our success with indicators such as reach, engagement, click-through rates back to our website, event audience, attendance size, leads generated, or an increased awareness. Sorry, I should have clicked that. That's okay. The CRA's fiscal year 2026 media advertising strategy invests in a mix of digital, physical, and traditional outlets to maximize the reach of our economic development initiatives, and it will drive measurable results for Hollywood Beach and our downtown districts. The total investment that we have planned right now is $288,630. That leaves us about $75,000 available for any flex throughout the year for contingency. I'm going to turn the presentation over now to Josh Martin, our Public Relations, Marketing, and Media Coordinator, to take you through the digital and broadcast and outdoor portions of the buy, and then I'll be back to wrap it up.
Hey, everybody, it's the guy from Instagram.
That's
Josh.
right.
Those are quite easily our lowest performing posts.
You do a good job.
Good morning, Chairman, board members, city staff. Again, my name is Josh Martin. For fiscal year 2026, our digital advertising provides KPIs that Joanne just mentioned, such as impressions, click-through rates, and engagement. This data helps us clearly see what is working, allows us to adjust campaigns in real time, and ensures every dollar is reaching the target audience. This data-driven accountability maximizes taxpayer funds and delivers a higher return on investment compared to, let's say, a traditional print outlet that has limited targeting and limited performance insight. For fiscal year 2026, our meta buy, that includes Facebook and Instagram, will include high-quality video content highlighting our infrastructure improvements, promoting our economic development programming, and our retail recruitment push to viewers in Florida and in out-of-state markets. Reach, shares, views, click-throughs, and profile visits are just some of the indicators for success. Our goal for LinkedIn is to target business professionals, developers, key decision makers using the LinkedIn filter that's provided with the platform. Our goal here is to attract investment interest, lead generation, and direct traffic to our economic development website, which is choosehollywoodfl.com. And you've heard us talk about Placer AI in the past. You may recall Kevin Crowder used them frequently in presentations to this board. We'll be using them to provide real-time data on foot traffic, dwell times, origin markets inside our CRA districts. Gathering this data and insight will help us determine factors for business attraction, retention, and could be used for grant justification as well. Along with our upcoming market survey, this data will help us better understand who our customer is and what their habits are, and more. The South Florida Business Journal digital component will leverage an exclusive custom showcase, dedicated email marketing, and will be in their book of lists as well. This is to reach a business-savvy readership. This buy will focus on our local Tri-County area, highlighting CRA programs, grants, as well as investment opportunities for local and regional decision makers. And our friends over at Travel Host will be geofencing specific areas, not necessarily in Hollywood. We want to gather data in those areas and then serve those folks custom digital messaging. The goal of this placement is to reach potential investors and customers where they are and then drive them to explore more about Hollywood. We leverage our broadcast partners in their reach, like WSFL TV. Their targeted email database, owned by EW Scripps, WSFL has a nationwide family of media outlets, so our message is reaching business owners and executives through targeted email campaigns. Our message is then reinforced with retargeted emails to increase frequency and visibility, meaning that if we send you an email and you open it, you can expect another one from us later that month. Our goal is to build awareness of redevelopment and retail opportunities, and one of our KPIs for this buy, of course, will be leads generated. iHeartRadio will be delivering streaming audio ads, podcast ads, and display campaigns to business owners and investors. Again, these are targeted to those people. The goal is to increase awareness for the business community and position Hollywood as a business-friendly location and the best destination to start or grow your business. The Hollywood Art and Culture Center recently took over management of Cinema Paradiso downtown. Jen Holman, already working her magic. She's showcasing award-winning independent, international, and cult classic films. This support includes an on-screen video played before every movie that highlights Hollywood Beach and the CRA's investments, initiatives, and accomplishments. Our goal is to strengthen the CRA's community presence and highlight Hollywood as a hub for arts, culture, and investment. Our outdoor advertising placement offers local exposure to attract the closest customers we have, the ones in our own backyard and neighboring cities. Now, we do recognize that ROI is difficult to measure other than word of mouth. However, our partners indicate that thousands of vehicles drive past the hundreds of potential advertising spots each day. We're going to be able to pick and choose the areas we want to place these ads for maximum exposure over an extended period of time. The example you see here is for our Holly Go. We placed this a couple months ago, along with several others, and they stay up for as long as we'd like them to. I'm now going to pass this back over to Joanne. Thank you for the opportunity.
Right back here. Thanks, Josh. Our earned media efforts are also worth mentioning. This is an organic, unpaid publicity like news stories, customer reviews, social media shares, and word of mouth. It remains an important part of our buy to expand our reach without spending any money. A few examples of additional earned media that we will be pursuing is local regional news coverage, positive news coverage, industry publications, thought leadership. And what we mean by thought leadership is we are going to continue to position the city of Hollywood and the mayor and the board and executive team as innovators and leaders in the industry, op-eds and panel discussions. We're also going to continue to apply for and win regional awards. I point to the Structures Award for multiple Pinnacle 441 and the University Station project. Those are things that help expand our reach for the city of Hollywood. And then also our social amplification, which encourages our local businesses and our community partners to share all the good news about the CRA and events outside of our platform. Our campaign for this year across the city is our See Life, See Opportunities. This is a comprehensive buy that will help amplify Hollywood across multiple platforms. This approach will serve as a greater awareness for our location, retail space that is available, and the opportunities for our businesses and our investor community to succeed and grow. Of note, this will be print, digital ads like Josh mentioned, and also video. The video is in production as we speak. Otherwise, I would share with it today. This concludes the CRA's ad buy. I'm open for questions.
So, Joanna, could you just give the board and the public that's watching perspective that this isn't the only ad buy and not all that CMed does? This is specifically economic development, and that's the restriction that we have with regards to the use of CRA dollars, right? And so
That's
you've shown
correct.
us specifically economic development media and the direction, and just if you could just clarify that for the.
That's correct, Mayor. So this is the CRA's specific economic development media advertising buy. I mentioned it's about a $300,000 buy. We still have some room to spend. Additionally, the board approves a spend of around $170,000 for economic development initiatives specifically for the city. That is a separate buy that is handled by Vicki Nelson over here. She is our new economic development marketing coordinator. She has been placing that buy and working through the procurement process, so we're happy that Vicki is here with us. Additionally, the city also has around 120 annually in advertising money for destination marketing and event marketing. So that's the money that we use to promote all the things happening at the Arts Park. So it's 3 separate buys that total up to about $500,000.
So Joanne, if I could, and I know we've got board members who want to speak, but I think we all probably agree that, and you understand, of course, that our biggest opportunity is to fill, at least in the downtown, to fill empty space. I think that's more important than attracting development. On the beach, I don't know what since all of the spaces are basically full, maybe there's not necessarily, unless I'm not thinking about it now, is what's the economic development goal of the beach CRA area? That's different. Maybe that's to get customers in and visitors in to support the businesses and what have you. But given that in the downtown, our rub and our problem is vacant space, do you think that maybe we would be able to shift if the email showcase for South Florida Business Journal is 44,000, and I don't know, like LinkedIn was targeted video ads of come bring your business to downtown Hollywood or the beach. Those are like general messages of bring your business here. Maybe that $65,000 is better suited to deploy through hiring a retail recruiter. We talked about this, a site selector maybe, or a brokerage that could really, take our inventory of empty space and push, leads into the owners and really try to, really get engaged in filling the space. I know we talked about this and you said you were already doing it, but maybe it's good to take these dollars and put it on that.
I'm happy to report, Mayor, that there is a separate pot of money that we will be hiring a consultant, or a retail recruiter consultant, to be able to assist with filling those spaces. So that won't be coming out of the advertising buy. So we can go from here.
Okay.
But retail recruitment is the focus for downtown. You had asked additionally about how we were going to address the beach. There's a 2-pronged approach. So there is the destination marketing approach that is a different pot of money through the city's advertising buy. And then the portion of the CRA buy that has beach funding availability, we will be using that money specifically for the infrastructure improvements and all the amazing things like the offshore reef. We will be promoting those types of things heavily using those dollars.
Create visitorship.
Correct.
I gotcha. All right, thank you. Let's go to Board Member Hernandez.
Thank you, Mayor. By the way, I don't agree with some of the things that you have here to spend money. I don't think that we need to spend money for cinema. I love Jennifer, for Cinema Paradiso, where there's not a whole lot of people to go there, and the ones that do, they're already in the downtown. Do you know who is actually visiting our downtown restaurants? Do we have a survey for that? Because some of the restaurants are doing their own, and none of the residents in the immediate areas are the ones that are frequency that. So how do we reach somebody else? So I'm not going to vote for this if the $60,000 is there, because I think that's just prolonging the agony of something that has failed, and we're continuing to help trying to keep it alive, but for no particular reason at the taxpayer's expense. The people that go there, they're already in downtown. Why are we spending money to advertise to those people?
And maybe the support for the cinema, if we want to support it, it just shouldn't be in the ad buy. Maybe it should be, in a different way of support, like a nonprofit support.
Correct. And I agree with that if we're going to do it that way. And what are they doing for us? How are we multiplying that advertising dollars in their support that they're doing to bring people to the cinema? I think this is just a waste of money, to be honest with you.
Or that it's just not media for purposes of economic development, is what you're saying.
Correct. It doesn't. Those people are already here, so we need to be able to do something else with that. So if you're going to put the $60,000, I'm not going to vote for this. And I think that it probably behoove. And I mentioned this years ago. What are the restaurants doing to bring in their people? Because if you have a downtown that it's full of individuals that are coming to the restaurants, that are coming to the other places, those empty places will fill up because the customers are there. One of the issues that we were heard time and time again, and I'd like to thank Jovan and the team for opening up a parking that is coming up, and we're trying to bring in more parking so that we can eliminate some of the issues that have come up as to the reason that people don't get here. Those are the things that we need to address and how we are promoting those things that they have been addressed. We have more parking in the downtown, there's valet. Those are the things that we need to promote. Most of the ads that I hear, it's the same ads again and again. They're not lively. They don't give updates as to what's going on in the downtown. And maybe that needs to change. How do we address the public at large? Some of the events that we're having need to be promoted on the event basis rather than just to have a cookie cutter ad and send that out and repeat it. I'm not criticizing. I'm just trying to give an idea as to how we can do something that's different, because what we've done so far, it's not working.
I mean, the point of the creative handling the objection, like, oh, there's no parking, I'm not going there. Well, there is parking. And so your point,
Yeah.
the creative of the ad handling, attacking the objection is a good creative angle. Yeah.
More parking available. We have, the garages that open up, all those things. It helps with the downtown and try to do that. And that's all I'm saying. Let's see how we can spur it up a little bit in order to come up something that's positive, and actually we can see where our money is going. So don't get mad at me if I don't vote for this because the $60,000 are there, because I think it's a waste of the taxpayers' money for the purpose of bringing economic development. Those people are already there.
Well, I know that Joanne yesterday when I talked to her, she said, gosh, if I had $1 million, I could really blow it out of the water and be a lot more effective than even what I have, because obviously she can reach farther. But that said, and maybe the executive director / city manager, if the Cinema Paradiso funds can come from elsewhere, if the city commission, CRA board, or city commission decides to do that, then that would add $60,000 to make the ad buy go farther with other issues. So we'd be accomplishing a more effective ad budget if the $60,000 for the cinema can come from a nonprofit assistance source of the city, as opposed to, this particular ad buy. I don't know where, but somewhere in the funds.
My point is,
can speak about it.
My point is, why are we trying to keep somebody on a life support system that it's not?
Well, they just started.
Well, no,
With the new Art and Culture Center taking it over?
with the Art and Culture Center, it just started. I agree with that. But the Cinema Paradiso has been there for years, and we have been support. It's not going, guys. Look, I'm not blind. I don't have blinders on. I can see that it's just something that, for some reason, we wanted to support. It never took off, and we continue to support it. So if we continue with the trend of supporting our friends at the detriment of the downtown, then don't expect the downtown to thrive, because it's not working. So my point is, the taxpayers' dollars should be used for something that actually has a potential to work. I don't have a problem trying something new, but we've had this for years, and it hasn't worked. It's not bringing in people.
Right.
That's all.
All right. Well, let's hear from the board with regards to whether or not cinema funds, if the board supports them, which we're not speaking on, but what could come from somewhere else, and we can increase and direct the $60K, to additional media advertising reach, like Meta and like Instagram and Facebook. 20,000 could be easily made 80,000 and really reach a ton more people. And including our residents and everybody else, the Rediscover Downtown initiative that Commissioner Hernandez was talking about, we could reach a ton of people targeting the Hollywood, geographic zone. I mean, you'd love to have 80 grand for Meta, right, Josh?
Yes,
You'd be
we
like, yes,
would.
please, right? So if the cinema dollars come from somewhere else, then we could really blow it up on Meta, which is really where people are. So let's go ahead, Board Member Shuham.
Well, to continue along those, I'm fine as long as the dollars come from somewhere. So I don't want to leave this item without a confirmation that it's available.
What I was about to say is if it's the board's decision not to spend that money in part of this program, and we'll obviously spread it elsewhere as you like to make the other pieces more effective. I can't tell you that we have other dollars available at this time to do that. We will look for other ways to work with Cinema Paradiso, but I can't tell you we have an extra $60,000 to throw to that. So.
Okay, so I support as is, and potentially looking at Commissioner Hernandez's suggestion or the chair's suggestion for next year. But Joanne, when you put this together, I'm assuming that your staff found value in that $60,000 spend. Is that correct?
Additionally to the video that plays on the screen for the captive audience that's there at the time, there is a component for the business community. So there's discounts, there's complimentary passes that are shared, there's special offers for residents and civic groups and employees to be using the space. There is cross-promotion and economic development collaborative programming that takes place that links the cinema to area restaurants and hotels. You've seen a little bit of that happening since Jen has taken place. So the goal is to drive foot traffic to downtown. So,
I mean, I think it's great that there's a captive audience there, that you're, teaching them about everything that's available within the CRA. So I hear what you're saying, but I would not be comfortable taking that out without assurances that that funding is available. Cinema Paradiso is doing really amazing things under this new leadership. I want to support it as best we can. And I trust that Joanne's team has found value here, or it wouldn't be in the proposal that we're looking at. So.
Maybe we should invite them to the next meeting to kind of share what the progress has been and where they're going with
I'm
it.
sure Jen would love to come.
And when does this media buy take place if it were to be approved?
So we are in the procurement process now. These are just the items that we have placed. I had mentioned there's about $74,000 that still hasn't been placed, so we have flexibility to use throughout the year. I would just mention one other thing too. You, Commissioner Hernandez, you had mentioned about who are the customers. We were asking that same thing. So as part of this fiscal year, the funding has been approved for a market survey to take place for the beach and for downtown. So we have a really solid baseline and understanding of who is here, where they're coming from, et cetera. So I just wanted to answer that.
I'm gonna have him respond, but don't forget we have the parking meter study that tells us where the zip codes are for the people that are parking.
Yeah, and I can tell you that some of the restaurants are doing their own survey, and we don't have to reinvent the wheel. Maybe we can just get with them and find out what their results are, because their survey is the actual buyer, just like the
credit card receipts?
Credit card receipts.
Oh, there you go.
So we have the ability to do something like this, and that's my point. My point is, if we're going to do marketing, we're going to do reach out, let's talk to the people that actually have the customers in, and they can talk to their friends and what have you. I love the Art and Culture Center. I'm not looking to defund the Art and Culture Center.
Cinema
Quite the
Paradiso.
contrary. Well, Cinema Paradiso is being run by the Art and Culture Center.
Right,
if I
but that's
remember
what
correct.
this is.
I understand. I am not in support of this because I don't think it's a waste of money. If you do it in Meta, for example, I'm in support of that because you're reaching potential people. These people are already here.
Our problem is more people.
Exactly, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to bring the customers in, and that's all. It's not negative as to what we.
Peter, would you support the cinema funding for the upcoming year from another source?
But yeah, I got no problems with that.
Yeah.
But this is just a misnomer if you come to this, and
It shouldn't be economic development advertising, is what you're saying.
Because
it should be some other, support, whether
it
it's
could be the arts. I mean,
be marketing from the market.
because they may be doing something.
Commissioner Shuan was speaking, and Commissioner Hernandez just butted right back in because he wanted to have a little debate here. And I don't have a problem with that, but maybe we can have some clarity if more people are speaking before we're jumping back and forth.
Well taken, well taken. Go ahead, Commissioner Biederman, you were next.
No.
Is
I'm
Commissioner
not-
Shuan finished?
No, but thank
Go
you so
ahead.
much. Just one more quick question, Joanne. So I feel, just to wrap that up, I feel strongly that I don't want to give up on that $60,000. It doesn't matter where it comes from, but I don't want to lose it today and then not have it filled back in. So, but Joanne, the other smaller question is, there's a few local publications, whether it's Cahoots or the Hollywood Magazine and Civic Association magazines. Where is that funding?
It is not in this buy
Okay.
anymore. It has been for a number of years, but the data and analytics just is not there. So because we have a tight budget that we're working with, the funding for a Cahoots or, a Lake Civic Association, is not in this advertising buy.
Is there opportunities in other areas for that? I mean, there's such nominal amounts and they go to a ton of people.
Potentially.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, Meta reaches the same people. Go ahead, Commissioner Biederman.
Joanne, thank you very much for that comment. I don't believe we should be advertising in papers that have very negative commentation. I mean, Cahoots is very negative. Civic associations get very negative at times, and that's not where we should be spending our money. I appreciate that. I didn't mention this before, and I'm going to use this opportunity to mention it, but I was sitting at a Broward League, and a marketing person from another city happened to mention what a great job your team is doing. And special shout out, kudos that we were able to land Arlene and her talent.
Oh, thank you so much. That's wonderful.
I
agree.
That being said, just to continue the conversation about the Cinema Paradiso, where'd the $60,000 number come from? Is this a hole that they needed to fill, so they came and said, we can give you $60,000 worth of advertising? Or is there actual value to, is there defined value to the $60,000?
Susan may be able to speak to this a little bit more. This is a legacy dollar amount that has.
The legacy dollar amount was $20,000 worth of tickets.
It's my understanding that there was a $60,000 benefit and hole that needed to be filled. So this was the 60 grand, and then we worked around what we could get for that $60,000 other than just the video that
So
plays on the screen.
they needed to fill a hole in their budget, and we're filling that for them.
It's part of a commitment to economic development
Okay,
and
so-
driving traffic downtown, I would say.
I don't have a problem with that if we know what the $60,000 is being used for. If it's being used to keep the place clean or to hire staff, I might have an issue with that. If it's being used because they're going to use that $60,000 as a multiplier to advertise the cinema and the dinner and a theater options that our downtown has to offer, because we can't advertise in that manner. But if this is an opportunity to fund as a pass-through kind of thing, to without opening the door for some illegal activity, if we could fund the cinema where they're going to use this money and multiply it to advertise people coming to the new downtown, to Cinema Paradiso, and to dinner at Mickey Burns or dinner at Blue or dinner at Tipsy Boar, I don't have a problem with the $60,000 coming from this budget. And I've had my share of criticisms for the Art and Culture Center in the past, but I do appreciate what they're doing to bring the arts to other areas of the city. And the idea is where they're going to do, using some of our money, they're going to do Boulevard Heights night at the theater, or the Lakes night at the theater, or Emerald Hills night at the theater. Hopefully it won't be a Saturday, hopefully it won't be a Friday night that they decide to do. But I like some of their initiatives that they're trying to include other parts of the city and draw people from our neighboring cities. That being said, I had other questions. What's the out of market advertising that we're doing other than the digital marketing? Are we doing anything in national publications? Are we doing, I know that Herb was at the ICSC conference, and I'd love to hear how that, at some point, how that went, and the measurable benefits from ICSC. Also, we could do retail recruitment all day long, but if our landlords aren't being cooperative with their own dollars and their own buy 1 month, get 1 month free kind of draw-in, we could do all of the advertising in the world, but if the landlords aren't cooperating, it's going to be throwing money out the window, even worse than the Cinema Paradiso money. Do you have a response to that?
Yeah, I was just waiting for you to finish. So in partnership with the cities buy for economic development. The CRA's buy is more of a local buy to get people and foot traffic into downtown and the beach and the retail recruitment. The city's portion of the economic development buy is more of a national buy. We leverage organizations like we mentioned SFL TV. They're part of the Scripps organization. They have about 60 television stations and publications throughout the country. We target areas like the tri-state region of New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. We target Chicago, San Francisco Valley, the Tech Valley, Denver, I'm trying to remember them all, the Space Coast, and the Boston area, specifically for our target audiences that we're trying to reach. Retail, the marine industry, healthcare, etc. So each of those areas are targeted with a specific See Life, See Opportunity message, but the visuals would change with who we're trying to target in those areas. So we do have a national buy, but it is more in we use the city funding specifically to focus on those areas.
2 final comments. Number one, I look forward to seeing, or 3, the digital, the local digital boards that hopefully we're going to get out soon. Your digital messaging boards.
The mobile digital.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking? That's for the Centennial.
And are we going to have a similar presentation at the city commission meeting for the city's advertising buy?
Typically, what we have done in the past is provide in memo form the purchases that we are making for the city's portion. I did present earlier this year the city's portion for the Centennial. If you're interested in having a presentation on those 2 buys, I absolutely can do that.
I would love to see that because I think that's important. It's included in the budget, but it's important that we know what's going on and the residents know what's going on. And just to keep in mind, this is just a presentation. We're not voting on it. We already voted on this ad buy, the 288 in the budget that we approved last week.
Correct.
Okay. Great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's go to Vice Chair Quintana.
Thank you, Chair. So, Board Member Hernandez, I heard what you were saying. I can only kind of think back to my own experience with the Johnson Street Business District and those small businesses there and the efforts that I made to try and get those business owners to kind of see themselves as a unit. And the idea that while I only wish that the Johnson Street Business District had the pedestrian-friendly environment that downtown has, where people could walk from business to business and get to explore what's there. One of the things I really tried to get them to think about is that we could all benefit from cross-referral to one another, that we can keep each other's businesses alive by doing that. And the idea that if we diversify our business base and give people a reason to kind of linger and try different things, like if you go downtown, is there anything to do other than sit at a restaurant and eat? What else is there to hang around downtown for? And so for me, like the idea of combining dinner and a movie is a way to get people to stay a little longer and see what all is there. So to me, I mean, my understanding, because I just kind of learned about the history of the Cinema Paradiso and how it was previously run, was that part of the problem was that there wasn't a connection to our local hotels and that there wasn't that cross-referencing. So, I mean, I realize it's only been several months. I don't know how many because time is at warp, but since the new operation began, But I would like to know, what is in place already and what are the plans for doing that kind of cross-referral so that we can, learn about it, but then also open up to other ideas and for all the businesses to also kind of see the value for them in having something other than just restaurants. I mean, I know if you're all restaurants, you're all kind of competing for the customer, but diversifying our business base is kind of something I talk about often. So I'm glad that we're supporting them, but I also understand that we want accountability for how that money is being utilized to bring more business to everyone downtown. So I just wanted to comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Gruber.
Thank you very much. I love the Holly Go on the bus benches with the QR code. I think that's a great idea. I do love it. As far as the Cinema Paradiso, so I don't want to beat a dead horse, but so I'm sure you can look at each one of these and say, okay, iHeart, 50,000, we're doing this many buys in front of this many people at a frequency of 3, it's worth this amount of money. Whatever buy we're getting at Cinema Paradiso, what would you put the value on that?
Well, it's how many eyeballs really are seeing it.
No, there's a way to quantify each one of these ads. So what would...
Cost per impression.
It's not 60, right? So do we know what it would be? Because I would be comfortable paying what it's worth. And then, again, I'm a supporter. If we have to find a different way to get them money, but to say 21% of our advertising budget for downtown is going to Cinema Paradiso at 60 grand and it's worth 5, I can't do that. I don't.
So to answer that question,
Yeah.
so the Placer AI portion that you see up there, that is a geofencing service that one of the things that we were going to be doing is geofencing Cinema Paradiso. See who's coming, who's going, what the foot traffic is. So we have the data to support our decision-making going forward.
Sorry. So explain that again. We
Placer
have an
AI.
Right. Geofencing.
We will geofence.
That's $35,000.
Yes, we're geofencing a number of different areas. The beach, driving people to downtown, driving people to the beach, Johnson Street area, the 441, also known as on the 7, that's a geofencing area. And then we can pick specific points, like Cinema Paradiso, because it's part of the buy. We want to know who's coming, who's going, where they're coming from, et cetera, so we can quantify the spend going forward.
I mean, that didn't really answer my question, right? Like,
You're asking for I don't have the data right now.
Yeah, we need Cinema Paradiso here to tell us how many people are going there.
Right.
We're going to
what
give
the plan is.
10-second shorts at the preview of a thing, blah, 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 blah. It's going in front of this many eyes. You can figure out a frequency on that and what
it'll be attendance.
There's a pretty objective way to figure out what that's worth in advertising.
It'll be yes, and we'll know through foot traffic and how many people are using the coupons and where the coupons are being used and those types of things to put a number on, and then we will figure out $60,000, was it worth it? Was it $7 per person? Was it $20 per person? Was it not worth it at all? We'll be able to quantify that.
I don't know. I have a problem with that. Looking at we're doing iHeart 50,000, we're doing Channel 39 45,000, and we're saying we're going to spend 60,000 on cinema. Again, I want to support Cinema Paradiso, but this isn't making sense to me. Where we got this $60,000 number, and then to say we'll analyze some data after to see if it's worth it. Maybe I'm not on the same page as everybody else.
Hold on. Try to help the conversation here because I know there's the board is really split because we're grappling with the fact that the Cinema Paradiso dollars perhaps are not pure, economic development driving media dollars, and there's a basis to that at $5,000 a month. But yet we all know that the Art and Culture Center took over Cinema Paradiso, understanding that the city would help support it, especially in the beginning year, and they're just getting going. So I don't think any of us want to cut that effort completely at all. But there is a lot of sense, Executive Director, to these dollars really being different dollars rather than needing to take up 21% of the media buy when they could be spent on Meta and go a lot longer of a way and create a much better benefit for downtown. And that can't be really argued. That's obvious.
Right. Imagine adding another 40,000 to Meta. Going to do 20 at Cinema Paradiso, so you're going to get more bang for your buck.
No, I don't. I think Cinema Paradiso relies on these dollars to just sustain itself for this first year. So I don't want to look to reduce the dollars because I think it's necessary for the sake of the mission there if we want to invest in that. And so I think we still do. We need to give them a chance. They embarked on this really in partnership with us, you could say, in some ways, because we went to them and said, "Can you help rescue Cinema Paradiso because it's going to get closed?" So. But Executive Director, obviously we have our 288 for the media buy. We have some trouble with the Cinema Paradiso taking up 20% of the media buy. We know the dollars could reach farther with Meta, for example, to get more people downtown, customers to the restaurants, rediscover downtown, kind of creative. So why is it that we can't find the $60,000 elsewhere? If that's the directive of the commission, then you will, right?
Here's the situation as we've just started the new fiscal year more than a week ago for both the city and the CRA. Everything is allocated. The nonprofit dollars are allocated. The only source that would be available to do that at this point would be the general contingency for the city, and that is designed to provide that kind of balance and security for the entire year for the city's operating budget. And that's, 500 plus. And that goes very quickly when you start early on attributing it to other new costs. So that's my concern. Yeah.
So Joanne, with regards to your department and your departmental budget and all your totality of funds, do you feel like there's somewhere else within CMed that this 60,000 can be absorbed if it is a marketing and economic development kind of like initiative on CMed on Cinema Paradiso, or this is kind of those are allocated too? I know.
Yeah, it's that would be a challenge. So, something else would have to go.
I gotcha.
Or we would have to.
I gotcha. All right, Commissioner Cleary, go ahead.
So Joanne, I'm going to ask you even something even harder. In a perfect world, what would be your, in a perfect world, if we didn't use that 60,000, where would you apply it to make the best impact for downtown?
I think the mayor was accurate in saying social media and identifying people where they are on their devices. That is truly the best way to be able to deliver our messaging. Now, don't forget, this is an economic development initiative that we're talking about. So it's not general customers that we're really targeting with this. This is decision makers and business owners, et cetera. So there are other, I think there potentially could be a different event or two that we could invest
So I'm going to make it easy. And I'm probably not going to make very many friends, but here's the facts. We have talked about our downtown forever and a day. We see that it is suffering still. The foot traffic is just not there. We've built the apartments around. We're starting to see a slight increase from dog walkers and maybe pickups and such, but we've spent a lot of money in our downtown to make it beautiful, to make it walkable, and now we're making it accessible because we've come up with more parking, which has been a push. We can't keep trying to keep things afloat and let us suffer, meaning Cinema Paradiso. It's a wonderful attribute. It's historical. It has its niche, but it has its niche of people that attended that know that it's there, but they're not investing. They're just going because of that It's that group of individuals that like the ambiance of it. We have repeatedly spent a lot of money through the CRA for Cinema Paradiso. And when is enough? It's like when is it the bleeding stop type of thing? And I know I'm not going to make friends with this, but our downtown that we've invested millions of dollars in needs help. And so my request is, I'm sorry, but the 60,000, we can't keep putting money into something that's just not, I don't feel, giving what we have hoped over many years to the downtown, regardless of the owners, regardless of the pushes of the tickets and stuff. It's just not doing what it needs to do. So I would rather maybe not spend 60,000, give some, but until we have that data of what is actually utilizing that cinema and actually bringing forth what we're expecting, and I know we're not getting 60,000 out of it. I can almost guarantee anybody up here can challenge me on it, we're not getting it. So I would rather, and I don't know if it's possible, the downtown businesses, is there an opportunity for them, for media advertising to be solicited within the downtown businesses themselves? So that they, like I don't want to say, like when they walk in, everybody's on their phones. Yeah, where everybody's on their phones, no matter what, where you go, right? And you say, I'm at Tipsy Boar. New restaurants on this block where they all share. When you walk in, like a geotag type of thing, it'll pop up on their feeds. And I feel that that in itself will help. Oh, just go around the block and you can go to the new A, B, and C, restaurant, or you can go 20 steps ahead and you can go to the cigar bar, so that it tags stuff where people know, or you can actually partner with other areas in the city that say, hey, did you, if they're at a cigar bar or a brewery, they can tag and bring, there's got to be more networking going on that I think we can utilize the money to go further than what it's being done now. Now, with that being said, this definitely is going to be a hit. I am not in favor of using contingency funds to complement or to replace the 60,000. So the question that really comes about is then what happens if we don't contribute that 60,000 to Cinema Paradiso, which is supposed to be for economic drive, and I can guarantee you it's not. So what happens if that $60,000 does not go? Do they shut their doors and close? Because then that's another issue we have to deal with, right? But we should not be crutching. We can't do it anymore.
So let's invite them in at the next meeting so they can make their case. How about that?
Okay.
Is that a good solution, guys? And because we're not voting on this today, this is a presentation, but obviously there's a lot of concern. So let's have them come in, and hopefully they'll inspire us that it's great. And if after that we have a discussion and there's a determination that it's whatever decision folks want to make, then let's do that. But let's give them an opportunity.
All right, and then my next question is, so you have iHeartRadio. So I kind of feel like iHeartRadio is great. It gets, there's a lot of people that use it. But what about Spotify? That is the new upcoming trend that people are using. So why, actually younger generation, my kids tell me that I'm old and I use iHeartRadio now, I use Spotify. So I get with the times.
But it's digital streaming, board member. It's not radio ads, right?
It's digital streaming only?
Right.
Hey, Josh, can you elaborate on iHeart? What exactly?
So iHeart, these are targeted ads for people based on interest. So given their plethora of podcasts and others, we're not, a person like me wouldn't get an ad like this. We're looking for key decision makers, people who are business owners, people who are C-suite folks. So given iHeart's plethora of podcasts and network, we're able to target those people.
Okay, and then the last thing that I think, billboards, we can't put that we can't use billboards on here for advertisement?
Which billboards are you talking about?
Like the one in Oakwood Plaza, isn't that Hollywood's?
Oh, so we have a deal, and I think I can credit the development services team for this for a long time ago, Leslie Del Monte. When those boards were going up, in the contract was written that the city has space available for advertising for free.
Oh, okay.
In addition to emergency messaging. So you will see consistently on the boards on the west side of 95, we have messaging all the time. We have 5 messages going right now talking about Holly Weir, the Centennial Cool in the Gang, etc. On the Oakwood Plaza site, We have a partnership with them. It is paid, but it is at a discounted rate compared to, what people would have to pay. So we do leverage that, but that board in particular, those two boards in that area, the traffic on those is significant. So it's a little bit more difficult to deal with the Oakwood Plaza board versus the free stuff that they do with us all the time. So we are advertising the Holly Go, Downtown, Discover, Explore, and then event messaging on those boards.
Okay, perfect. And then the last question that I have is the individual that we have now incorporated or that we're looking to bring, we have someone marketing, economic marketing that's actually going out to businesses or reaching out to potential customers?
We have our economic development team, and they're
No, but who's the
in
new
the
person
office.
that we just hired?
Richard Kelman is one of our economic development representatives. We have Janelle Richards as an economic development representative, and we have Hugo Amaya, who is our corridor redevelopment specialist. And then Vicky, like we said, we brought her in for marketing as a marketing coordinator.
So the only
and of course, we have Herb.
Right. So the only reason why I think is now that we have the additional parking, which we have always heard, like we could not get a staple. We have Twin Peaks, which, thank goodness, parking is an issue, but now it seems resolved. But we've also heard that like we can't get staple restaurants, like
Anchor restaurants.
like Houston's or Ruth Chris or Cheesecake Factory or, something of that nature. Where are we at with that now? Because I think that with all the development, this provides us an opportunity where we can bring in one with new parking. And I think that will also bring in, build it and they will come type of thing. So we've built the downtown, now we get a staple, then it'll bring in more. Where are we at with that, if there's any opportunity?
I think it's worth noting that the CMed team and the department, the CRA responsibilities have been transitioning over. It's not fully a complete transition, but we are staffing up and we are taking a look at what the existing conditions are. I think it's very important for us to have the data that says this is where we're at so we can make informed decisions on where we're going to go and what our next steps are. Our market survey that I was talking about, in addition to working with Mark Rowe and Jimmy and all the people down there in the downtown area and those at the beach, understanding the foot traffic, our placer information, we will have the data to be able to understand this is where Hollywood is. Here's the vacancy rates. We are seeing more lights on these buildings. So it's a positive outlook. I don't want to make it sound like, this is a ghost town. It is a positive outlook of what's happening, but it is not there yet, to be absolutely clear. So I think our market survey will help us to fully understand who's there, who's not there, why people are coming, why they're not coming, can they not find the parking, do we need more signs, those types of things. Part of our survey too, you were talking about, is we're surveying the businesses as well, not just customers. So I think that information will be helpful for us to know. The team, we've been attending the meetings and reaching out and establishing relationships. I mean, a positive, we've launched the Dine Out Hollywood program that was Commissioner Gruber's initiative. That's starting October 15th. And the team went out the other day and got 17 or 18 restaurants on board in one afternoon. So we're out there working it, and while we're getting those on board, we're also establishing relationships and saying, hey, this is the face, this is the name. You have no idea who we are. We've been here for about a minute, but we want to build a relationship. So that's where we're at.
Okay, well, I'm excited to have Art and Cultural Center come and kind of give us a little breakdown on that, because I don't mean to be so harsh, but after a certain amount of time, you can't keep beating a dead horse.
Okay, let's remember the time, everybody. It's 12:05. We do have a 1 o'clock. Commissioner Hernandez.
Thank you, Mayor. The reason that I answer her question was because she asked a question, Commissioner Biederman, not because I wanted to butt in. I represent downtown. Nothing would make me happier than have a campaign that would bring people and businesses to the downtown. But when you have something like this, I have to face the businesses that are actually bringing people into the downtown, and they're looking at me and said, $60,000? Really? We have associations that bring in more people to the downtown than this, and they don't get a dime. So it's about the money that we have being spent wisely for the purpose that it have the money there. I have nothing against the Art and Culture Center, and if we talk the Art and Culture Center into taking over Paradiso because we were going to fund it, then we made a mistake. That was a bad choice. So I get what you're saying, that we need to do what we can in order to help the Art and Culture Center, because how many seats does this theater have? 70, 75 at the most? Half full at best? One show a day? You don't have to be a rocket scientist to quantify this. The $5,000 a month is probably going to the rent. And so is that the best use of a taxpayer's dollars at the end of the day? To me, the answer is no. And to the point that Commissioner Biederman said that we don't have to vote on this, yeah, we can. The reason that the presentation is here is for us to see where the money that we approve is going. And if we don't like where that money is going, just like the budget, when it comes to the city commission or the CRA, we can say, eliminate that position. We can certainly vote to eliminate that as a choice where our money goes. We're not talking about eliminating the $60,000 of the budget. We're talking about allocating those $60,000 where we can get more bang for the buck. And so I would motion that we move the $60,000 to digital post boosting so that we can get more bang for our buck. You guys don't have to support it, but I'm just telling you, this is not where we need to be having our money going to. We're trying to create more parking for the downtown. We're trying to create more things. Let's put the money where it's going to have better bang for their buck. That's all. If nobody wants a second, we're good.
I'll second that.
So if you're placing a motion on the floor, obviously in a 5/7, it could be passed. We did also discuss, just for discussion, that we invite them at the next meeting, and maybe it's more appropriate to kind of maybe more appropriate to basically make a decision at that point.
And I'm good, because I also have a plan. I mean, the plan, we don't, like I said, it doesn't take a rocket scientist, to Commissioner Biederman's point. Years ago, when Cinema Paradiso came up and says, we're going to do $20,000 in tickets, we're going to provide those tickets to the hotels and have the hotels try to bring their guests, for the hotel to advertise to them and try to bring their guests to see a movie and a dinner come to the downtown. It never went anywhere. They never proved that they actually gave the tickets to the hotels. So there was a marketing ploy that they wanted to do, and it didn't happen. Now, I would more than happy to have the Art and Culture Center come over here and try to tell us what it is that they're going to do for something like that. I'm not trying to hurt them.
Right.
I'm trying to get the purpose of the tax dollars that we're spending to function.
Yep.
And right now, I don't see that as a good function. So you guys, there's a motion and a second. We can do that, and we can bring him over here, and we can do whatever. But I'm just,
We need to
I have to face my businesses in downtown, and this is just no way that I can support.
Let's hear from Biederman and Gruber, going in the order. Biederman.
So we don't have money in the city to cover this, but is there money in the CRA that can cover some of this? And we'll put more money into the advertising budget. I don't have a problem with that. Well, where is there money in the CRA of what's a $3 million budget? There's got to be another $30,000
It'd have to be a qualifying use of the dollars.
No, but we can add it into the advertising.
We didn't
budget.
allocate every single dollar. I mean,
Yeah, the money is out. The money is allocated, and we're just in the first week of the new fiscal year. So to try and identify where money will be high or low after 1 week, it's not there. The numbers aren't
Right.
there. I can't tell you that.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, look. Again, go ahead, Gruber.
No, I was going to say I would second that motion, but I don't agree with pulling the whole 60,000 away. I want to quantify what it's worth. I know there's a geofencing $35,000 thing in there that can then tell us what it's worth. But we can say there's an average of 37 people there a show per day. This is how many, what you're going to see in front of you. and I'm sure your staff can tell us what you think it's worth, and I would agree to pay what it's worth, even a little more, but not if it's worth 5,000, which is what I have a feeling it will be when you quantify it, pay 60. I think we should pay what it's worth. So I wouldn't be in favor of backing that motion to pull it all, but to pay what it's worth for the advertising campaign, which is how it's presented to us and the public.
I'll withdraw my motion if the second agrees to do that until we get the information next month. I'm good with that. I'm not trying to hurt them.
Yeah, same. And I want them to have that money if they need it, but I think it's something we have to analyze. Are we throwing good money at something that's not going to make it? And are we okay with putting X amount of dollars in our budget every year to do that? That's another conversation. Mhm.
I'm okay with doing something like that, have it come back next month. Maybe they have a marketing ploy that is better than we ever think.
Right.
So let's hear what they have to say, but just at face value, I'm sorry, it doesn't pass the test.
Yep, okay.
So I'll withdraw my motion if the second agrees to that.
I don't agree because we have.
Then we have a motion on the floor.
Done this, guys. This is the problem. We have supported this great cinema, but it's not our responsibility, and we have done it for years and years and years.
All right, so let's just call a question on the motion, and then we know that if the motion fails, then they'll be here next meeting, and we'll be able to have a discussion again.
You'll get another bite at the apple, and nothing's going to move in the interim. Okay.
Right.
To be clear, to call the question, there needs to be a vote on calling the question. And then-
Second.
All right.
Did you get it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Second. But I don't think there needs to be a motion on calling the question
Yes.
because the discussion's over and now we take a vote. I'm just using it as a general phrase. It's not from someone else calling the
He's
question.
just telling me to
Stop
shut
debate.
up is what he's
No, there's no more in the queue. If there were more people in the queue, then it's a call to question. I see the queue. It's over. All right, all those in favor of removing the motion to remove the Cinema Paradiso dollars today, say aye.
Aye.
Raise your hands. I just don't. How many? Three? Three. Any opposed? Opposed. So motion fails 4-3. And then we'll see them next week, next meeting. And then we'll have a conversation with the data. So, all right, everybody, fair conversation. I know it's painful sometimes.
Okay.
All right, let's try to, it's 12:15. Hopefully we can fly through this quickly. We do still have to eat before 1 o'clock, or we have a lot of people going to be in attendance. So, informational report, Mr. Executive Director.
I'll be brief, just given the time. Obviously, new fiscal year, the downtown transition, in its formal prior sense has already taken place, and we're moving forward, and that has gone well. There has been sounds like a consensus reached with the downtown merchants on Hollywood Boulevard to not start the bollard installation till after the season.
Okay.
That was different than the original, but so be it, and that's why you will see that schedule pursued. And then we have Mike Jenkins with us to talk briefly about the camera installation on the beach.
City Manager, just a quick question. Since we have those, is it okay, Mayor?
Go ahead.
Since we have those cement blocks that are obviously not the most sightly, there has been a lot of requests just to even put some paint on them. Can that be done?
I saw an image of a sleeve, like a promotional sleeve. Is that happening?
Something.
Go ahead.
We're working with CMed on some ideas that we'll bring forth.
Well, the thing
So
is,
you're going to cover them?
But no, but here's the problem. We're working on them. It'll be 6 months and then season will be over and we spent money. I'm just asking for paint and make it easy and just paint them so that they're not so unsightly.
Then they got pressure cleaned this week, but I think the sleeve is the solution. And
Yeah, but it's gonna go.
You can have them on Amazon by 2 o'clock tomorrow if we order them. I mean, I don't know if we could get 80 of them, but I mean, if we pick out something on Amazon, you can have a clear sleeve. It'll be here by 2 o'clock tomorrow, and it'll be done. Maybe somebody will steal some of them, but for $4 or $5 a sleeve, you can buy
we're
them.
going to be sleeving them, and it's going to be done quick.
We'll find a quick solution, and we'll send it to you information before the next meeting. How's that?
Yeah, no, we already have the artwork's already been done, so all we got to do is, do you guys need us to say go? We already want it, so, yeah. All right. Anything else, Executive Director?
Mr. Jenkins, just briefly. Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Jenkins, thank you for hanging out with us this morning.
No problem. Just real quickly, we're doing everything we can to get the cable in for the for the webcam on the reef as quickly as possible. The devil's in the details, and we've just run into some temporary roadblocks that we're trying to work through to get it in.
What's your timetable?
Well, some of it is outside of our direct control. Right now, there's some interaction with the county that needs to get quickly resolved. As soon as that's quickly resolved, then it's a question of weather window to get it
I have a
out.
question. How are you putting the lining out to the camera? Like, how are you laying that lining? Are you just laying it on the ground? Are you digging it down? Are you securing it with chains? Like, how is that?
It is going to be a weighted cable, so it's weighted with chain, and so it's going to be dug into the ground with a weighted. I'm sorry.
How deep are you digging it? into?
Within the beach, actually, a portion is already in the beach, and it's below 36 inches, so that it's not a turtle issue. So a portion of it's already in the beach. It's the section that's in the water that hasn't gone in yet, and we need to weight that, and that will dig itself into the.
So you're pending a county permit?
Correct. Yeah, that's the issue right now.
All right. Well, that can drag a long time. So hopefully the city is working with you, Idalma, if you could help with getting that permit.
Correct, and I know that staff are actively engaged and making calls directly to the permit processor regarding that issue.
Okay.
So,
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Comments by the board members, General Counsel, Executive Director, Board Member Shuham. There we go.
Thank you, Chair. Really quick, I've had a couple of requests from residents that live south of Hollywood Boulevard to add a small tot lot, or actually, I shouldn't say that, a small playground area at Keating Park. I talked to Susan briefly about it. It's not inexpensive. And so I'm wondering if I can get support for staff to kind of look at the need for that. If we can figure out, are there lots of young kids that are not being provided a place to play? And then, if so, a rough idea of how much a playground would cost. I think if we put a tiny tot lot there, then it's very limited use. It's children that are so young, but maybe we can figure out somehow a little bit more details about the demographics. So I just want some support for staff to take a look at what we could do at Keating. There is some space available there. Susan said in front of the restrooms, there's a small spot, and just something there for the kids. There are young families moving into these condos. And so.
Like 2 or 3 little play stations?
Something like that.
Susan?
So we're kind of in substantial completion right now for the park. The area between the public restrooms and the parking lot, which is the north side of Keating Park, it does have a slope to it, and it's landscape. So if there's a desire, we would have to regrade, redo some of the landscape, and fence it in, because there's a dog park right there. It makes sense also to fence it in for safety. If there's a desire, we could look at, a feasibility study to see.
Yeah, but that sounds complicated and expensive. Why can't you just come back at the next meeting and say, okay, we could put one slide set, we could do this, we could do on the grass, not sit there and deal with drainage and a million different things of putting a new surface and all that. Maybe it could be a simple addition of a fixture or two, not a slide, a swing set or something. Maybe could there something be done very simply, and maybe you can give us that answer at the next meeting if the answer is yes or no, and then we'll decide if we want to go to the next step of doing feasibility study and all that good stuff.
We do have to regrade the area because it's sloped. We could come back with some ideas.
Of what the really simple thing is? I support the idea of.
No, right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
No, just the general idea of what could be done simply, without a lot of investment yet. Just
Correct.
the concept. Just bring a concept to us, and we could say yes or no on the concept.
We will do.
Or to go deeper. Yeah. Yeah. I got you. All right. That's another idea, is put a swing on the beach. So, all right. Well, just what could be done simply at Keating for kids is the thing, and just a concept, Thank you. Go ahead, Commissioner Schumm, if anything else. All right, Commissioner Hernandez, Board Member Hernandez, you're on.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to remind everybody that I believe that we're going to open the parking lot behind the post office tomorrow. Is that correct, Javon?
Yes.
And I'd like to thank Javon for
That's correct.
his team for all the effort. Do we have a time frame or anything like that in case anybody wants to come by and take a picture?
8:30.
8:30 in the morning? Okay.
Well, that'd be a good way to promote more parking downtown is and spread the word. Yeah.
That's the point. So
All right.
I have nothing further, just
Thank you.
because of the time.
Board Member Coleri.
Nothing.
Board Member Gruber had to step out. Board Member Biederman. You're on.
So I'm going to make this real quick. I didn't want to bring this up and drag out the whole love mural thing, but I am concerned about the ownership of that because I thought when we talked about it, we were going to be able to use like the replication of the mural and some marketing stuff for the city. And if that's not the case, I mean, we need to talk about that. Like if we're going to do postcards or like the butterfly scarves that were done and stuff like that, we need to be able to
Have the right.
promote it. Yeah, have some kind of rights on it so that we could promote that,
Okay.
stuff like that.
All right. Looks like Lisa has some information. There is an agreement, so.
Bring it back at the meeting today.
Yep.
You can,
Right.
yeah.
George, yeah, we have the rights to market it.
As long as we don't profit from it.
Okay, all right. There's your answer.
Okay.
Vice Chair Quintana.
I waive, thank you.
All right, just for me, is there any update on the audio video for the band shell? We talked about a video camera to broadcast with audio the shows. There's already an existing camera there. So is anyone working on the audio? And Commissioner Hernandez brought it up, and as we were brainstorming, and it's an amazing idea to have that stream on YouTube with audio. Yeah.
I believe part of the challenge with that is the licensing for the events that are there.
So let's get them to all sign a waiver, whoever wants to participate. The bands would love to have themselves broadcast on what do you call it, on YouTube. And Margaritaville shouldn't oppose because it promotes Margaritaville too.
It would be the licensing for the events that are going on at the band shell.
The bands.
Right.
The bands would have to approve. So get a form, make that a requirement with Margaritaville. They all have to agree to be audio broadcast, and they're going to all want to because it's them on YouTube.
And you know what, now that you said that, Domir,
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
sorry, now that you just said that, it just triggered something. We were talking about media, economic drive.
Yeah.
Why can't we put a live stream video on our downtown?
Yeah.
And then that would promote our downtown. It would help bring more people.
And show the environment.
Show all of our Holly Weird events, our St. Patrick's Day parades, so forth and so on, and really encourage people to come.
Yeah, use one of the existing poles and
God.
just place the camera on it. That's a good idea. Do you are asking for support to identify which pole can hold a camera? Yes. Support. All right. Biederman, go ahead.
We're never going to get out of here.
Since we're doing the parking garages, it was brought up that maybe we could do a mural, maybe not a mosaic mural, but a mural on one of the garages. If we can bring
We'll
that
look
back
into
to
it,
us, thank you.
All right.
George, sorry.
So Adam, on the audio video, get back to us on the status at the next meeting, and
Will do.
we definitely want to do it. If you need to get with Margaritaville, have a waiver or an agreement signed with the bands, and have that be a requirement.
And we'll also come back with whatever equipment we would need to ensure that we can do this.
There's already a camera there. Just
There is, but we have to upgrade the equipment for the audio
yeah,
part.
yeah, agreed. All right. Executive Director, General Counsel.
No comments, thank you.
I'll waive.
This meeting is adjourned.